Well, hello there, lovely people. It's me, Ryan Burns. It is April 2nd, 2025. How are we doing tonight? I just wanted to jump on here and do a I don't know, ask me anything or just hang out and talk about anything uh, video. I don't know. We just wanted to hang out a little bit. How are you doing? Hello, two people. Special shout out first off to BBG. Happy anniversary to you and yours. Hit me up sometime. I'd love to hear from you. And let's see who else. Where's Oracle? I don't see Oracle. Where's everybody? Oh, there's Jay. Jay, of course, my good friend Jay. Hey, everybody. Hi, Jim. Stool boom. All right. Oh, Professor Jim. Great. More from GB. Robert Moore from Great Britain. Hello, hello, the Queen. Hello, P. Robert, I guess. More info on Joseph Johnston. Well, I wish I had more info on Joseph Johnston. There just doesn't seem to be anything about Joseph Johnston. Hello, Cynthia. Doesn't seem to be much out there on him. He was just a villainous sort, and that was pretty much it. And he ended up dying in April, I guess April or May, maybe June of 72. So that's kind of creepy, I guess, isn't it? To be associated with the hijacking somehow, maybe, and end up dying mysteriously. Although I don't know exactly what to think about him, but he is, as I said in the video about him, he's the only guy I've come across in the files who makes me think, okay, maybe there's some association there. Hi, Tommy. Hello to the Cooper Sleuth and hello McCoy Meltdown, man. Yeah, that Nikki's gonna get it for making me do that. That stinks. That like I said, there's a factory that makes those guys. I'm not brown haired or scruffy bearded enough to do that. I don't own a brown jacket either. Why are people still pushing for Rekka? Good question, Jim. Who is still pushing for Rekka? The uninformed and Rekka grifters, essentially. In fact, I try to hold no punches when it comes to Rekka. I'll be nice to most people about their suspects, and it's a shame because Lisa Story, Rekka's niece, is a nice lady, but good God Almighty, Rekka is the greatest insult to any honest researcher out there. That entire grift is just an insult to our intelligence as a community. To think that you can get away with having 3 books out there, 3, and a documentary out there suggesting that Cooper jumped 70 miles away from where the closest the plane ever was. You're 150, 140 miles away, I guess, from where Cooper jumped. You're saying he jumped out? I mean, like I said, the plane wasn't, even when the plane took off in Seattle, it wasn't within 60 miles of where Rekka says he jumped. I mean, and in the literature for that, they talk about, Radachek was coerced into saying that the flight path was wrong. And it's like, you automatically lose. It's like Godwin's law. So there's a thing called Godwin's law in debate that says that if you bring up Hitler in a debate, if you compare anybody to Hitler, oh, you're like Hitler or whatever, you automatically lose the debate if you bring up anything with Nazism or whatever. Well, like in the Cooper world, if you question the flight path, especially to that degree, you're just a fraud. You're a hack. Okay? You're a hack. Because of the things that we know in this case, which isn't much, the flight path is pretty concrete. Okay? Like really concrete. I mean, there might be a variance. I think they got it to within a quarter mile east to west. I mean, we know where the plane was pretty much at all times. I mean, the question is, when did Cooper jump out, right? And we can discuss that later. I'm having some conflicting thoughts about that. But hello. Is Rekka or McCoy the bigger insult? Oh, Rekka, like by leaps and bounds. I mean, at least McCoy did it, right? I mean, it's like for all the grief I give Hahnemann or whatever he says name, at least he did it. And McCoy did it. So we know those guys were capable of doing it. Rekka, I mean, I assume Rekka was capable of doing it. He was a villainous sort, and he was a skydiver. I mean, Rekka would make a good Cooper if you were just inventing Cooper and didn't have all of our witness descriptions, right? But Rekka is literally the opposite. I mean, this guy looks like Shrek, right? I mean, let me see if I can pull up some of my Rekka stuff. Like how like I said, it's an insult in many ways. Like I said, the flight path itself. I mean, you could have a guy. He could look like your suspect could look like Don Burnworth and look just like Cooper. But if you say that he jumps 150 miles away, I mean, literally, this is like a crime taking place over DC, and you're saying, "Oh no, he jumped out over Philadelphia." It's like that's literally the distance. It is preposterously stupid to suggest that. But yeah, that's kind of where I am. But no, Rekka is the worst of the worst. Do I not even have? I dislike Rekka so much. I may not even have a dedicated Rekka folder. Yeah, I don't think I have a dedicated Rekka folder. I just kind of throw his butt into my folders here where I have all my pictures and things. Here he is. I mean, let's just look at let's look at some of the people who the witnesses were like, yeah, I could see that guy maybe being Cooper. Look at their faces, right? They're all angular, narrow, gaunt looking kind of faces. And then look at Rekka. Like you got these like skinny faced fellas, and then you have Shrek. Okay. I mean, the guy is an ogre. He's an ogre with that flat nose. I mean, that nose was smashed with a frying pan. Like one of those things is not like the other, right? Just a joke. He is just a joke of a suspect. And the guy had blonde hair or like red hair even. Like, I mean, and again, if you listen to his confession, he's talking about jumping out the side door. No, Rekka is an enormous insult, way worse than McCoy. I mean, McCoy was a viable suspect. Mary Johns, no, I think that's from when he got married in the 70s or in like the late 50s. But no, I mean, look, Rekka was one of these guys who he was too young to have fought in Korea or World War II, and he was too old to be in Vietnam. He's one of these tweener military guys who was in the military from like 54 to 64, right? And so he never saw combat. And so he decides to go start bullshitting about his achievements. And he just made up all these things. He was cosplaying as a Secret Service agent. And I mean, just the fact that anyone would even think about that is shocking. How about Rekka as a decoy accomplice? No, Rekka's an idiot. I wouldn't want him as an accomplice. Hi, Daniel. He's trying to read about Langseth. Well, we're going to get Langseth in the next vault. I think it's funny. You can tell like some of these vault releases are like 450 pages, and some are like today. The vault came out was 317 pages, a little light. And I know why. I feel like I know why. Is the Langseth file is going to be pretty long, and the intern was like, "You're trying to get to a natural stopping point for this month." I was like, "Oh shit." Do I really want to get started on Langseth and his 100 pages or whatever? So I think that Langseth is going to be for sure is going to be next month, which will be interesting. I FOIA'd for the Langseth file, but I guess here we are. That was 2 years ago. These FOIAs take forever. Oh yeah, and they're still redacting Robert Gregory, who was essentially born in the 19th century. They're still redacting his name, of course. McCoy in the early stages is a brilliant suspect. I mean, sure, if you didn't know anything about, I mean, he was a natural suspect to start out with. Sure. I mean, there was a reason that they were enthused about it. Sure. When he first came up, oh yeah, this guy kind of looks similar. And he did the same thing. So it's natural to assume. But again, all it takes is the witnesses saying, no way, that's not him. You know, regarding Joe Johnston, you suggest at least 2 of his 20s had very similar serial numbers. No, the other ones don't have similar serial numbers. Sally sells, she sells by the seashore. Wasn't Rackstraw the top suspect? No. Rackstraw made himself a suspect. Like literally made himself a suspect by like he was being extradited for murder from Iran. And on a plane ride, he started talking to the FBI about how he might have been Cooper. No, Knowles fan, no, we did not find him. You think it was Lakich, Yo-Yo. Okay. Face is a little wide, in my opinion, but, you know, it could be. And no, we did not find him. Not sure if we'll ever find him. We're just looking for a scrawny-faced, olive-skinned faux pilot. Skip Hall is a good suspect. Like I said, some people, some of the, who are the, I don't know the names of the, who are those two guys in the Sesame Street who like just sit back and criticize everything. I forget what their names are, the Sesame Street characters, but there are a couple people like that on the drop zone. We have those two guys for sure, and they're all bitching about how nobody, not Bert and Ernie, I'm about the two old guys who like criticize theater, but no, not Bert and Grouch, talking about what are their names? The two old guys, Stadler and Waldorf. Thank you. Stadler and Waldorf. Yes, we have our very own Stadler and Waldorf and Flyjack and Dave Feudman. Apparently, they just have to bitch constantly about everything. Because they're ostracized or something, or they don't want to participate anymore. I don't know, whatever, but they're bitching about it. And they're bitching because Skip Hall isn't being attacked. And I'm like, well, I mean, what is there really to attack Skip Hall on? I mean, okay. You got Flyjack saying, he's got wrinkles on his forehead or something. It's like, okay. I mean, so do I when I do this. You know, that doesn't mean I have crazy wrinkles. But anyway, no, it's not a lot to talk about when it comes to Skip Hall, to criticize him. I mean, he's almost a perfect suspect in a lot of ways. I mean, again, we're never going to find, people can bitch and say, well, there's nothing tying him to the skyjacking. Well, there's nothing tying anyone to the Cooper skyjacking. If there was anything tying any real suspect to the actual Cooper hijacking, well, then they'd probably be Cooper, right? So all we have is a profile. So we just have to find people who fit the profile, right? I mean, there's just nothing there. Do I have Skip Hall's file yet? I don't know if Skip Hall was ever investigated as a suspect. I don't think so. Probably not. Maybe. Okay. Why are Braden and McCoy always mentioned as top suspects when it's clearly not them, but they always get a mention? I mean, I don't like Braden. I cannot eliminate Braden if, yes, we know who Flyjack thinks it was. Yes, Flyjack thinks it was the Honduras guy. Yes, and he knows he's wrong. Yes, you know you're wrong. This is a man who cannot admit he's being wrong, though. Some people have sunken cost fallacy out the ass in the vortex. Okay, which just means you cannot admit you're wrong. I'll give Eric Eulis credit. At least he can do that. Now, he didn't apologize to, not that he needs to. I don't know if he needs to, but I mean, it's kind of shitty to someone like Vince Peterson, who was not even a villainous sort, to just throw him out there to the mainstream media. It was crummy. But, you know, at least Eric will admit when he's wrong. But no, there are people in the vortex who have to know their suspect's wrong, and they just won't admit it. Like, I really don't know how, like with Heinemann, I really don't know how you can look at Heinemann and be an honest researcher like Flyjack. I don't get it, because I just think that, let's look at this. Let's try to imagine this. Okay. Heinemann, as I pointed out here on the drop zone, look at this. The collective amnesia of the Flight 305 witnesses. 3 days after the hijacking, this sketch is created with the three best eyewitnesses sitting with the sketch artist as he drew it. Upon viewing this completed sketch, several key eyewitnesses stated, Tina Mucklow, almost 100% like him. Alice Hancock, fair likeness, cannot point to any part she doesn't like. Flo Schaffner likes the drawing very much, but the chin should be more pointed. Bill Mitchell, everything from the nose up is good. The mouth is also good. So somehow, mere days after the incident, they think that sketch is an accurate representation of this guy, Heineman. It's like, in what world do you, like, this is Heineman in 72, okay? In what world is this guy, Mr. Magoo with some hair, in what world does Mr. Magoo translate to looking like that 2 days later? Like, it's ridiculous to think that it's Heineman. He's also 5'8", maybe 5'9" at the most. I think one of his draft cards might say 5'7". Sorry, Flyjack. I think it might say 5'7" or 5'8". The guy was short. Okay. He was short. Cooper was not short, in my opinion. Okay. Yeah, there's that. So yes, just bad. And look at his little bird lips. I mean, let's look at his lips even. We've got, what is this, Robert Gregory talking about Cooper's lips? And that's the nose. Yes, the nose. Mr. Gregory did not definitely identify Liss as the subject of this case, but remarked that he bears a strong resemblance to the unknown subject. Yeah, he looks just like Heineman, doesn't he? Especially in the areas of the hairline, nose, and lips. Okay, look at his lips. We know Cooper had a fat lower lip. Heineman literally is called thin-lipped Heineman in one of his in one of the newspaper articles about the guy. Look at that fat nose. Okay, so no, it is not Heineman. And yes, I'm picking on Flyjack for Heineman, but you're going to call me a liar and disparage me like that and just be an ass to everybody on the internet about Cooper who disagrees with you, then I'm going to come after you. In fact, I might make a video about Heineman and just destroy this guy. Yeah, the guy was missing teeth. Now here's more Heineman of his giant freaking nose. Here we go. Alan Cooper. This is Alice Hancock talking about this specific photo of suspect Alan Cooper. Nose is too handsome. Unknown subject's nose was narrower than that. Look at Heineman's fat beak. Yes, the collective amnesia. They were all misremembering things. It was Heineman, yes. What a joke. Quite a schnoz. Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, somehow he finds the only suspect, maybe ever, who somehow doesn't look like a single sketch. Like, he should get an award for promoting a suspect who doesn't even look like a single sketch. Like, what are we looking at here? How? I mean, you get an award, like you get a scratch and sniff, like grape sticker. He can put on his fridge and scratch and sniff it. Like this, this is like the grand prize, the Bozo Award. Like, there's no way that guy could be that, right? Yet again, we look at the sketch that was made of Heineman. Look here. This is the sketch that was made of Heineman. Okay, on the right there. By the same artist, by the way. This is Roy Rose. You can tell by that art style. Roy Rose drew both these. So you tell me, folks, how is it that on his hijacking, they can get him pretty decent as far as his face shape? The nose is obviously too thin there. But they get his face shape generally right. And of course, he's wearing glasses. Yes. And then little thin lips. They got the thin lips right. But yes, it's preposterously dumb. Sorry. No, he won't ever give it up because the man cannot be wrong. He cannot be wrong. I don't think any of the suspects we talk about are going to end up being Cooper. You're probably right. I looks more like Kissinger. Well, no, in fact, one of the in Heineman's FBI files, one of the snipers, I think one of the FBI snipers or one of the guys looking through some binoculars says he looks like Vince Lombardi, which, yes, looks like Vince Lombardi, but said no one ever about Cooper. It looks like Vince Lombardi, but Heineman does. Has Dan Grider himself been eliminated as a suspect? I don't know. What's your favorite Cooper book? Yes, it looks like Michael Douglas. Absolutely. The sketch looks like Michael Douglas. The Heineman sketch is totally Michael Douglas in Falling Down. If you've seen the Falling Down movie, it is literally that guy. It's funny. But anyway, yes, Heineman's just a goofball. Let's see what else we've got on. Here we go. Well, more lips on Heineman. Let's see. Compare some poor people to Heineman. All right. This is Robert Gregory, redacted. Stated Peterson's lips and wide forehead remind him of the hijacker. Okay. Yeah. So lips. Cooper had a fat lower lip, people. I don't know how to say it. Let's look at Heineman's little thin lips. Yes, that's definitely a protruding lower lip. Yes. My point is that the hypocrisy of Flyjack a few days ago on Drop Zone saying that Hall was eliminated because Hall has forehead wrinkles when he raises his eyebrows. So you're saying that forehead wrinkles when you raise your eyebrows, he says the witnesses surely would have known this. This eliminates him. Yet you're pumping out a suspect who doesn't look like a single sketch. So the witnesses are either so good that they're going to notice forehead wrinkles, extreme forehead wrinkles when a guy does this, or so that they're that good, but they're also so bad that they come up with that after seeing that guy. Ridiculous. Like, the point is that the fact you have to nitpick that deep into Hall shows he's a good suspect, on superficially at least, right? Physically. Hall is a great suspect physically. Only two things with Hall that are problematic for me. Hall's nose can be a little bigger than I would like sometimes. In some photos of Hall, his nose is a little bigger than I want Cooper's nose to be. Okay. Although, his nose, I would say that Hall's nose certainly looks like, it's not so bad. It looks like, where is it? Oh, that's something else. Yeah, the wrinkles. Yes. Him bitching about the wrinkles. Well, I mean, look at the sketches, people. Cooper had forehead wrinkles, clearly. Yet Botox Heineman there has no forehead wrinkles. So him bitching about Skip Hall's wrinkles right there, I mean, I don't know, it looks pretty close, actually, to the sketch. Ridiculous. Redonkulous. But like, talking about Hall, though, I think I have a photo of him where I looked at his nose. His nose is decent. I mean, let's see. If we look at his nose compared to Comp B, it's close enough. But like I said, sometimes his nose looks big and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. I'd have to look at. I mean, his nose in the video doesn't look too bad, honestly. What in the world? Oh, my bad. What that noise was. But like, look at his nose here. So Skip's nose looks comparable there to Comp B's nose, right? But is Skip too handsome? Right? I mean, let's look at these guys again, right? Look at the guys that they liked. These are these are ugly looking dudes, including Recca. These are ugly kind of guys, right? And Cooper was homely and unattractive. I don't know. Skip's not ugly. I mean, maybe I do believe that. I think Packer learned that Skip had hepatitis or something right before, in like 1971. So maybe he was looking pretty ill and jaundiced. Yeah, Nicole says Hall is handsome. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, Hall's a handsome guy, unless he got really ugly. That's a knock against him, to be honest. If we're gonna be that, but that's minor stuff, though. But Skip can look kind of gross sometimes, though, too. I mean, like this photo here looks kind of homely looking. Yeah, it's not very clear, but his nose isn't too crazy big, is it? I don't know. Hall's good. Okay. Yes, Packer says Hall was still getting hospital treatments in 1971. but was Skip a master of disguise? Skip changed his look a lot. I liken him to John Lennon. Skip loved to change his look. I mean, Skip always was looking different when you look at his photographs. And then you have him, I think Packer shared this. We have him in the 70s, late 70s, and he's got his hair like that. He's all puffed out, got a mustache. I mean, he's looking different. Lorenzo Pasillo. Okay. Somebody asked me something. Yes. There we go. Lost Alchemy. Hey, Ryan, please elaborate on how you ascertained evidence of rubber bands being on the Cooper money pre-Tina Barr fine in the 80s, as rubber bands don't appear in the 302s. Okay, so a couple things. Okay. So Tina describes the money as being in small packages with bank type bands on them, right? So those are the packets, a $2,000 packet. Okay. So our understanding, let me try to find a photo of this, of what the Cooper money most probably looked like, is going to be that's me. This is me trying to fit money packets of the right size into the parachute, into the spare parachute, by the way. You can't fit much in there. So you can only fit about, and barely, I mean, it wouldn't fit. So those are packets of 5, which is what the Cooper money was. Packets of 5 of those. Let's learn the difference. A bundle and a packet, right? Okay, so packets are the individual ones there, right? A bundle is when you rubber band packets together. So let's try to get that. Let's try to get that understanding of exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about packets and bundles. Okay. If we look at, for example, the McCoy money in this photograph, it's a bunch of packets laid out. This was the McCoy ransom. You don't see rubber bands, you just see the packets, right? But then when you rubber band them together, like this photograph here of another hijacker's money from 72, you see, okay, when they put rubber bands on, they become bundles. Now, Tina does not mention bundles, or just doesn't mention rubber bands. She just calls them bank type bands. Okay. But, my thinking on that is 2 things: that she only saw the money that Cooper handed her. Okay. Because here's the thing, like, if you get one of those bags there, when you hold it up, it's got a lot of length to it. So for example, I believe I showed some people earlier in my Facebook group that there's a lot of neck on that bag. When you put the exact amount in there, there is still a good amount of neck in that bag. So let's see if I can find a good photograph, or a good, like if we look at this one here, this is the money bag, right size. You can see how much neck is on this in there. I mean, so Cooper was able to hold it. You know, Tina talks about the neck. She says it had a long neck. Tina says that he wrapped, cord around the neck. He grabbed it by the neck. So like seeing inside a bag like that is difficult if it's not sitting in your lap and you're looking right down at it. I mean, I've had this. I've done this with this bag, right? If it's not right in front of you, it's going to be hard to see down in the bag. So I don't think Tina saw inside the bag, essentially. So all she's going to see is what Cooper handed her. And I think that Cooper handed her a single packet. Okay. I think he handed her, because Cooper giving her $10,000, which is what a bundle would have been. I looked it up. That was like $80,000 at the time. Like, look, Cooper could be generous, but that's a little bit much, right? So I think Cooper only handed her something like this. I think he handed her one of the packets. So if Tina was only able to see the packets, then that's what she thinks the money looked like, was in packets. But like that, right? But we know that, seeing inside that bag, I don't think Tina would have been able to see inside that bag. Okay. I think, Cooper would have reached in there and just pulled out a packet from one of those bundles. Okay. So I think that's what he would have handed her. So that's all she saw. So that's why in my opinion, that's why there's no rubber band mentioned in the 302s, but we know that they were rubber banded because, again, we've interviewed the guy who, I mean, we know they were rubber banded because we interviewed the guy, Bill Grinnell, who carried that bag to the airport and got the receipt for it. So we know it was rubber banded in packets of 5 is what he said, which be nice to know really for certain that it was packets of 5, because we find 3 packets at Tina Bar, not 5. So if we knew for certain, 100% certain, that it was packets of 5 and not packets of 3, then that money at Tina Bar is buried there, essentially, at a later date. That would almost be confirmed, because there's no way that 2 packets would slide out and the rubber bands would still be on a 5-packet bundle. And now that's 3 packets. That's too much. So if we knew for certain, and Bill Grinnell said that it was their standard policy, and he watched them do it as they put the money in the bag, that it was 5-packet bundles, is what he told Chris Cunningham. And that's what he said at CooperCon. So there's that. How close is part 3 of your hijacking recreation from release? I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. They take forever. And now I am crazy about it. I take way too long. Most of the money was used to cook meth and was laundered. Yes, Rob Hetty left about $20,000 on his plane because he couldn't fit all of it. Yeah, he had Rob Hetty had a fishing vest, which is kind of smart. Ryan, if you had to jump with $1 million, I bet you would hold on to it. Well, I mean, hold on to it. I mean, I'm tied to myself, I guess. A turkey neck bag of money. That's funny. Is that Mary Johns, our New Zealand, our Kiwi says, or from New Zealand says, is that standard U.S. terminology? Does everyone straight away recognize packets versus bundles? No, I didn't. I had to learn that nomenclature in the Cooper case. But I think, like I said, I just think that Cooper handing her a giant stack of $10,000 seems kind of far out. It makes more sense he would just reach in the bag and pull out a packet and hand it to her, which is apparently what he offered Flo and Alice at some point later as well. I think he felt bad for only offering Flo the $19, and as she was leaving, tried to give her a packet as well, and she rejected it. Hey, Ryan, if Cooper lost all the money, is it possible someone found it all and didn't turn it in? Maybe someone in the search found it. Very possible. That's very possible. I mean, I think it's unlikely, just odds, but possible that some treasure. I mean, there were treasure hunters out there that weekend, the day after Thanksgiving, that Friday, and all through the weekend. There were lots of amateur sleuths and people, teenagers with beer kegs and coolers of beer going out there and combing through the woods. It wasn't just the FBI and law enforcement. So it is possible. I mean, they couldn't be all, I mean, they only had 30 sheriff's officers and FBI out there during the first search. It wasn't until March of 72 that you had hundreds lined up going through there. But yeah, it's possible a treasure hunter found it for sure. Wasn't there a reward for it? No, actually. It was, I think the max was $15,000, I think. Let me see. Actually, I don't want to quote it wrong. Let me see what have that in my book somewhere. Let me see what the reward was. Here we go. Let's see. I wrote, since the start of the investigation, case agents had recommended that Northwest or the Bureau themselves offer a sizable reward for information that led to the hijacker's arrest or to the recovery of the ransom money. Finally, in October of 72, so yeah, there was no reward for the ransom money until finally in October of 72, Northwest CEO Donald Nyrop authorized a reward of $25,000 for recovery of the total ransom, or 15% amount of any amount, or 15% of any amount returned that was less than the full amount. So the most you could get was $15,000. All right. It was no coincidence that this reward was announced at the start of the first hunting season since the hijacking. With such a large chunk of the hijacker's purported drop zone being dense forest, a partnership between the FBI and local hunters seemed obvious. For the next several years, game wardens routinely posted flyers advising hunters to be on the lookout for items that might have come from the hijacking. So, I mean, $15,000 wasn't anything to sneeze at back then. Obviously, that's about $100,000 today. But didn't LaPointe and Fisher both make intricate fake bombs? No. I think I want to say that it turned out that LaPointe's was like Roman candles inside of a paper bag. And Fisher, I don't think he ever showed his bomb. I think he just had a briefcase. And that kind of shows that Cooper's elaborate bomb is almost too elaborate. It wasn't necessary, which kind of makes you think it was real, because it was unnecessarily real looking. It didn't need to be. He could have just said there's a bomb in this briefcase and not shown it to anybody. Nobody's gonna risk their life to go, oh, bullshit, you know? So Tina Bar is a horrible place for a dead drop. Well, yeah. I mean, well, if one thing, he didn't jump there, and he damn near close to the river. I mean, you want to jump near Tina Bar, you're going to risk landing in the river. Okay, maybe it was. Randy, he says LaPointe had flares attached to a switch. I don't know about that. Maybe you're right. I'll have to check that. It was something like that. They were cautious with his bomb, quote bomb. But I think it turned out to be nothing when they really looked at it. But I think they were a little more cautious. He left it on the plane like a jerk. Ryan, what became of the, quote, crazy lady at CooperCon? Apparently her suspect isn't too bad. He's not. It's a good suspect, actually. Actually, it's a much better suspect than most. I'll say that. I mean, he's a little young. I think he might have been 37 or so. But again, men 35 to 55, hard to tell sometimes, right? But she's around. I talked to her on email. She's fine. She hopefully has calmed down a bit since CooperCon. But no, her suspect is good. He's solid. I mean, I think most people, I don't want to give his name out, I guess, but and there are photos of him that I will show. He was a glider pilot, which he was a daredevil. So really, when we talked about the FBI considered maybe Cooper was a thrill seeker. That's something that they write about a lot. Well, we've never had a thrill seeker suspect, I would say, who's a legit, just a thrill seeker suspect. And this guy fits that for sure. He was a champion, like glider pilot. He built his own glider, like powered gliders, not like a hang glider, but like powered, like gliders that would, I guess they can take off and then they glide around. I don't know, but this is him. There, it's a photo of him in, I don't know, maybe 72 or something like that. But he has a mustache, grew a mustache. But look at his little nose, got a little turkey neck going on. Now, of course, the turkey neck's angle. He's actually wearing a Navy backpack, might be an MB6 or an MB8 in this photograph. Actually, there's a bigger photograph. You can tell he's wearing an MB6 or an MB8 in this photograph. I like his hair. He's got some kink to his hair. Interesting glasses there. But that's him. Now, the only problem with him is in that photo, you can't tell, but might be a little too handsome to be Cooper. This is a photograph of him when he was a little younger, in the mid 60s. But I mean, the head shape for Cooper is perfect. The nose is perfect. The hairline's perfect. And his lower lip, I forget the story. Maybe it was a hockey puck or something. When he was younger, he had a hockey puck that hit him in the face, and it caused his lower lip to be deformed a little bit. And it's hard to tell in that photograph. You have to zoom in a lot, but his lower lip is definitely screwed up in some way. In fact, in other photos, you can really see it. I would say Verdal probably has the only other lip that is that dramatic. It's like that is Verdal. So this guy's a good suspect. He's just a little handsome. Yeah, this is a thrill seeker who is tall enough to be Cooper for sure. Yeah, I don't know. But he's interesting. He wasn't the best guy out there either, but he was a skydiving Canadian, and boy, I can't shake lately. I just can't shake the feeling that Cooper was a Canadian recently. The asking for U.S. currency or American currency. We're not sure exactly which one he said, but I think it might be American currency because U.S. currency comes from Tina's statement she tells the FBI that evening. Okay. American currency is actually in the transcript, I believe. That's actually Radachek's words. He says he wants money in negotiable American currency. And now Radachek is playing telephone with Tina. So my guess is that Tina said American, which means Cooper may have said American. And then the FBI might have written down US or whatever. But the Canadian thing, I think that if you are going to commit a crime, the FBI would have more information and more leads coming from America, not from Canada, right? The FBI doesn't have jurisdiction in Canada. They have to get it special from the Mounties and things like this, right? So if you're a Canadian, I mean, if you're trying to do this crime, and also remember, Paul Sini was Canadian. Paul Sini hijacked a Canadian aircraft. So this whole air piracy thing, or this parajacking, is a Canadian in creation. If you believe that Cooper was influenced by Paul Sini, which I do. So that was a bigger news story in Canada than it was in the U.S. So any good Canadian suspects? Lee Seller is Canadian, and this guy's Canadian. Those are the two. Well, okay, there's a couple out there that aren't named yet because the people don't want their suspect named yet, I guess. If you have a suspect, I will help you out on it, and I will keep my mouth shut. Contact me if you have a suspect, and I will look into it and be honest with you. There are a few Canadians out there who aren't named yet, but of the ones that are named, Lee Seller and this guy, I won't name him, but he's out there. But again, Paul Sini, Canadian plane, and just saying American currency, like, it is hard for me to believe that an American would ever say that. Anybody who's an American in this chat, would you ever say, I want American currency when you're in America? You say, give me dollars, give me bucks. I guarantee you if I asked Mac right now, if I called McNally right now on the phone in front of all you guys, I would say, did you ask for bucks or dollars? Or did you say, I want 502,000, which is what he asked, 502,000. Did you ask for $502,000 or did you ask for $502,000 in American currency? I mean, that just seems strange to say that. But Canadians, especially those who live in west Canada, like Vancouver area, who come across the border all the time to go to Seattle, they apparently specify sometimes. I mean, they have to because they're jumping back and forth between currencies. So that's hard to shake that an American would say that. And like I said, Cooper didn't think he was going to be recognized. That's another point too that we need to mention is Cooper's lack of care about his appearance, a lack of a disguise, is indicative that he did not think he was going to be recognized by anybody. And that really kind of overrules anybody who's a local suspect, in my opinion, like James Roman, right? James Roman was a doctor in Vancouver. As much as I like James Roman as a suspect, that alone is very problematic that he lived in the area. Because think about how many times you guys have gone to your local airport and run into an acquaintance or a friend even, or somebody who knows who you are. You might not speak to them, but you know that they know who you are. So if you recognize them, then they might recognize you. So I don't, Yes, McNally was recognized on. Well, it wasn't a dry run, Randy. It was he was trying to do it that day, and yeah, McNally goes all the way from Detroit to St. Louis, and as he's gonna buy his ticket, he's in line to buy his ticket from American Airlines. He hears Mac, Mac, and he goes, "Oh, I'm caught." And he turns around, and it's a buddy from the Navy. So what are the odds that McNally from Detroit is going to run into a Navy buddy who he served with out in Seattle in St. Louis at the airport on the day he's going to commit his hijacking? That's unlikely, but not a risk you want to take. And Max scrubbed it because he just didn't want anyone to know he was there. So never rob a bank in your hometown. Don't commit crime in your hometown. I hate to be that way. I'm a criminal defense attorney, but I'm not supposed to say these things. But yeah, if you want to get away with the crime, don't do it in your hometown. Do it in a different state or somewhere. Yeah. Yes, Elizabeth says, we have literally run into people at the Louvre in Paris from when we lived in California. Yeah, you can run into people. So do I think Jack Collins is a good suspect? I mean, physically, yes. Physically, yes. I still have a photo I found some photos of Collins. Photos of Jack. I mean, Jack's not the worst suspect, but again, there's just not much there. He's not a criminal. There's no, I mean, Cooper was probably a criminal, people. Come on. Oh, he was a criminal. He committed a criminal act, but I mean, his background, I think, was criminal. I thought I had some photos of Jack. I thought maybe I don't. I thought I found some good photos of him, but no, Jack's okay. He's olive for sure. There's no doubt about Collins being an olive guy. What is this cat's name? Somebody sent me this, and I forget his name. He was a businessman who like just abandoned his family from Canada. I think he was Canadian, wasn't he? Somebody sent me this. He's the right age to be Cooper too. He abandoned his family and then turned back up, and like they found him living under an assumed name in the late 80s, early 90s, and he just went back and got back with his family. He like staged his, almost like a Paul Cotton thing in Gunther. He just like faked his disappearance, like parked his car somewhere and just left. And they didn't see him for like 15 years. And so suddenly, I think he was in, I don't know what it was. It was in Unsolved Mysteries, I think. And they found this guy selling insurance somewhere else in Canada, and they reunited him with his family. He's like, well, I just wanted to do it. He's a heavy smoker though. But God, what was that cat's name? But he's actually interviewed in an Unsolved Mysteries follow-up interview, and he's Canadian and doesn't sound like a Canadian, but gosh, what is this guy's name? Try to find that. Try to find that for you guys, because I don't want to let you guys down, because you can look them up later on your own time. But let me try to find this. Sorry, people. This is great pod, I know. We call it. Damn it. Sorry, talk amongst yourselves. Let me find this. All right. Okay. Yeah, all right. His name, okay, yeah, David. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, right. His alias, that guy right there, his alias was Cooper, by the way. Alex Cooper was his alias. His name was Albin Arsenault. ALBANARSE Nault. NAULT. Albin Arsenault. And he was 46 in 71. Had a turkey neck. His known aliases were Alex Cooper and David Cooper. In 71, he was hiding from a burglary he was accused of. And he hid his true identity from his family for decades. They didn't know his name was Albin Arsenault for a while. He lived in British Columbia, Canada, a place called Cranbrook, Canada. A nice man who kept secrets from his family. But yeah, I mean, that it's not bad to have a guy, right? To have a guy who has an alias of Cooper, who's 46 and 71, who is hiding from a burglary charge in 71. Not bad. Definitely olive too. Has the hairline. Not handsome, particularly. Ears stick out a little bit, but they're not like in that one photo. It's pretty bad, but in the other photos, his ears don't look too bad. But yeah, there's an Unsolved Mysteries episode for y'all. I'll see what that episode is called. It's season 4, episode 2. So it's on YouTube. So Unsolved Mysteries, season 4, episode 2. But anyway, not bad. Albin Arsenault. I think I would change my name too if my name was Albin Arsenault. I'd tell my family I'm Alex Cooper too. But I don't think he would have went on TV if he was Cooper. I don't know. When you're old, you might not give a damn. When he was that old, he was in his 70s when he was on TV finally. So maybe thought he got away with it. But yeah, I agree. Is there a record of all the tips Unsolved Mysteries got for Cooper? Yes, there is. In fact, they're all in one of the vault files. And in my book, I've got, let's see if I can pull this up for you guys. Yeah, here we go. The Unsolved Mysteries leads. They actually kept a record of all the leads they got. Here's a pretty cool document. It says, this case was featured on Unsolved Mysteries, a National Broadcasting Company television series on October 12th, 88, and again on March 10th, 89. As a result of that exposure, 206 telephone calls were received after the October 88 show, and 193 were received after 89. And they even broke it down into says the telephone calls fit into 5 categories. A sighting. The caller had recently seen an individual who looked like the composite sketch. The caller had an acquaintance who looked like this composite sketch. There were a person's a former suspect, a new suspect, and then no lead at all. So the decent leads they got were 26. They got 26 actual leads. 9 from the 88 showing, and then in March 89. So honestly, if you think about how many, that's just the first 2 airings. This thing ran in syndication constantly. So they're constantly getting people. Let's see. Would love to hear C. McNally one-on-one. Yeah, I need to get Mac on the show. He's around. He'll do it. Who is your top suspect? I don't know. Probably nobody really. But I like Skip Hall. I don't know, might be a little too handsome for me though. Nose might be a little too big, maybe not. I don't know. Skip Hall's not terrible. Well, I mean, Skip Hall's a guy I can't eliminate. I'll say that. I don't feel comfortable eliminating. But again, Cooper could be one of a million different guys, right? So we're really just playing the odds here. Orville Lyons still bugs me. I don't like the fact that he hurt his leg permanently falling out of a tree in Seattle in the fall of 71. That's what he told agents in 1984. I don't like that. That seems a little dodgy. I don't like that he brought up the hijacking to agents before they even mentioned what they were interviewing him about. That's a little dodgy. Orville's dodgy. The guy was a smoke jumper, yet told the FBI he had only been on a plane one time in his life. He's a liar. So he lied to the FBI. If Langseth had not been eliminated visually by the stewardesses, then Langseth would be up there. And him offering his DNA doesn't bother me too much. Langseth did offer his DNA freely when he was an old man, but maybe he just didn't think that they had DNA from his hijacking, which he's not wrong about. But Langseth's interesting. Langseth's up there. I just don't know why you would lie. I mean, the fact is, Langseth's the only person I know of who lied to the FBI about where he was that day. Why are you lying to the FBI about where you were on November 24th, 71? And caught in a lie, too. That's weird. And the guy was an industrial chemical salesman. I mean, you talk about bingo on the or pin the tail on the turkey neck. That's pretty good. Wouldn't Cooper have been a more clever liar than that? You would think. Yes, Cossey. I do not have Cossey lying to the FBI. Of course, Flyjack invents things, and Flyjack thinks he's lying to the FBI all the time. But no, I don't have him lying to the FBI. He's consistent. He lies to Larry Carr, but that's in the 2000s. Part of me thinks that Cossey himself started to believe his own bullshit by the 2000s because he had told it so many times over 40 years that he started. His embellishments became the truth, I think. He was a known criminal and con artist, probably involved in other crime. Langseth, yeah, possibly. But heaps of people lied to the FBI that they knew who Cooper was, including false confessors. Yeah, there was a false confessor that was redacted. I would like to know who he was out of Texas or somewhere in the FBI files today, in the vault file that was released today. There was a false confessor who was telling people he had been Cooper, and he actually worked for Northwest Airlines. And I think this is the right guy. I think his name was redacted. Yeah. And I couldn't find, or was that Mason? There's a guy named William Mason who, you're talking about the vortex, right? Is you research things and then like you want to smash your head into a wall. So today in the vault file, this is what pissed me off today. It was a bunch of nothing, but obviously I have an interest in looking at suspects who are similar to Cooper, right? Or that, look at, the guys that they thought looked like Cooper, right? You got these three cats here. I mean, these four cats, people identified as saying, hey, I can't eliminate him as being Cooper. Eyewitnesses said this about these guys. So Cooper's got a look to him, right? He's got kind of narrow face and kind of beakish little nose. And weird lower lip, right? That's Cooper's features. But I like to know, I can look these guys up when I see an FBI file where they're like, yeah, that guy looks like Cooper. So it pisses me off to no end when today I come across a suspect named, he had been in the files before, but a guy named William Mason, which sucks because I wish his name was better, but I can't find a photograph of this guy. I spent about 2 hours today trying to find a photograph of this guy. Couldn't find one, but I wish I could, because here's Spreckle talking about Mason. It says, on February 8, 72, witness Cord Spreckle was displayed a photograph of William Johnson Mason, suspect number 186. Spreckle stated that based on the photograph of Mason, which was displayed to him, he could not positively eliminate Mason as a possible subject. Spreckle stated that Mason had facial characteristics similar to those of the hijacker, although the hijacker appeared to be older than Mason. Spreckle stated that without further photographs of Mason, he could not positively eliminate Mason as a suspect. It's worth noting that Mason would have been 42 at the time. And Spreckle was shown a photograph from 71. So Spreckle thought, however old this Mason guy looked at 41 or 42, Spreckle thought Cooper was older. But yeah, so I can't find a photograph of that guy, which sucks, right? It's like, okay, great. So I can't find a photograph of him. And then the real kick in the nuts, as we say, is this one really grinded my gears, is that we have a lot of suspects who are unredacted, but then we have some who are redacted. And I'm convinced that most of these guys are dead now. But so this is some intern who, we only get one shot at this. And it's like, if the intern doesn't redact it, then we're never going to get this unredacted. So I'd love to know who this guy was. It says here, if you scroll down, I think this might be Le Bissonniere, or it could be Mr. Spreckle in the name there, but it says, blank stated that the photographs of redacted represented an individual to him, Mr. Spreckle or Le Bissonniere, that were the closest he had seen to his recollection of the unsub. However, he stated that the photographs indicated that redacted had a face that was wider than unsubs, and his hair was thinner than the unsubs. So who's this guy, right? I mean, I'd love to look up I'd love to find another guy who the witnesses say is the closest that they had seen to their recollection of Cooper. Oh, and hey, there's the bingo card again. They're saying, yeah, but this guy's face was wider than the unsubs. Again, they constantly talk about Cooper's thin face, Cooper's thin nose. Sorry, Dave Feudman, that Bill Smith has a big nose. It comes up again and 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 again. I mean, his nose was thin, and his nose and his face was narrow. I mean, they eliminate so many damn people for their face being too wide. That's one of the problems with Joe Lakich, right? Joe Lakich has a wide face. I mean, they almost certainly, when you read through these, and when you even see suspects, I can look up photographs of people who they say their face is too wide. And their face ain't that wide. But so when I look at a guy like Joe Lakich, and I say that face looks a little wide to me to be Cooper. Where's Lakich? Yeah, I mean, I think all of us would say this guy's got a wide face, right? That's a wide face. And the little bitty lips too. So no, Lakich, his face is too broad for my liking. Okay. Yeah, trying to solve a case ain't that easy. Yeah. What does Larry say about Mason? Larry is, I mean, look, guys, we are the FBI agents today. Okay. What Larry says is, I love Larry to death. He's a friend of mine. Like I consider the guy an actual friend. We text Instagram posts back and forth, but like, Larry, I know more than Larry does about this case. I mean, it's just, it's not arrogance to say that. I mean, we care more about it. It was his like hobby case for a little while. It is our obsession. He was not obsessed with it. So, I mean, he would have had more access to things, but a lot of times he wouldn't have had more access. Larry did not have a searchable database. So Larry goes on TV and says, hey, that I think the cigarette butts are lost, because that's what his understanding was. Larry's in the dead camp. I mean, yeah, he is. He's the only one. In part 2 of your excellent hijack narrative, you have Cooper saying, they must think I'm bluffing. If they want to test me, then we'll all die here today. Source, well, that's a bit embellishment to a point, but Tina says in her 302, in a different interview I've got with Tina that is out there, but she says that he repeatedly stated he was not going to be taken alive. So how do you repeatedly state you're not going to be taken alive? And we know he said, believe he said something about bluffing. That is in some interview with Tina or Radicek or somebody. Bluffing is somewhere in the actual source material somewhere. Don't forget how lighting changes your face. Look at your bathroom mirror with the light. I know, yeah, lighting does change. Do you think Flo really said that Cooper had told her that they had sat together 100 years? That's fake. No way. I mean, Flo may have said that, but Flo didn't spend any time with Cooper. Flo spent, 5 minutes total with the guy. I mean, certainly didn't sit next to him long enough to say that we sat together 100 years ago and saw this cheesy romance stuff. He's dead and long gone. One day you have to accept that. Who's dead? We have to accept what? I think we all accept that Cooper's dead, Ollie. I don't think anybody thinks Cooper's still alive at this point. We're chasing a dead man. We're not chasing a live person. Yeah. Let's see. What are we talking about? Shoulder to shoulder. Yeah, I mean, the lighting, I don't know. Lighting's not terrible. I mean, and I don't think the lighting affected his skin tone either, because think about this. I mean, I would think that was a possibility if not for Dennis Lisney, the ticket agent, specifically calling Cooper olive complected. So that's specificity there. He'd be 103 now. Oh, yeah, a heavy smoker of disgusting Raleigh cigarettes. Ryan's dead camp. Yeah, we're definitely chasing a ghost. But yeah, somebody mentioned earlier about Rekha or McCoy. My God. I mean, as much as McCoy is a bad suspect, on paper, McCoy is a good suspect. Like if you came across, he's a little young, but let's just say he's the closest to Cooper physically of all the copycats. No doubt about that. Although Mac did get his ass kicked, though. Mac got roughed up pretty badly. He told me that the FBI were pretty mean to him because they wanted him to confess to being Cooper. Because, think about this. The agents in the FBI who were in the Midwest, St. Louis, Detroit, Norjack was not their case. All they saw of Cooper, all they had of Cooper was the sketch they had seen before. They didn't know the details, really. So you've got McNally, whose brother lived in Seattle in 1971. Mac spent all of his time in the Navy, most of his time, for 3 years, flying in between Vancouver, Canada, and Portland, Oregon on the coast. So, and then he goes and does it. So if you are just looking at McNally and as Cooper, it could be worse. I could get why the agents beat him up a little bit about it, because if you put Cooper glasses on Mac's if you put Cooper glasses on Mac, sometimes his face shape at least kind of narrow, right? Mac has this kind of a smaller nose, and so, but they roughed him up because they thought he might have been Cooper, but then of course they realized Cooper was way older than Mac. Good question there, Tim. I have actually emailed the Minneapolis News. Tim says, does video still exist of the original post-hijacking press conference? Has anyone seen it in its entirety? No. I've written to the archives up there, to the news station, saying, hey, do you have this? And didn't get a response. I'll try again. Maybe I'll get somebody. But yeah, it was and I looked in Northwest Orient's museum archives. They don't have a copy of it listed anywhere. So it was a notable event. My guess is it exists somewhere. You come across things. I didn't expect to see on archive.org. There's video footage of Captain Scott being interviewed walking to the plane the next morning in Reno. I'd never seen that until a couple years ago. We hadn't found that. So you can still come across things. We're still going to come across photos that we haven't seen and things like that. I've been in contact with Marilyn Newton, who's the photographer who took all the photographs of the crew and the plane in Reno. And I was able to get some photographs of hers of the plane, but she took some photographs of the crew and she doesn't know where those are, the negatives. And I'm like, oh man, it's all the photograph of Tina. There's a photograph of Tina where Marilyn took this one and she doesn't know where the original is. And she's old. Marilyn's in her 80s. She's a sweetheart. She's out in Reno. She was a photographer for 50 years for the different Reno papers. And she's like, I just can't, I don't know where my negatives are. But yeah, there's a photograph of Tina where she's looking rather distressed, and Marilyn took it and sold it to the AP or somebody. Yeah, it's this one here. And I'd love to have a nice copy of this. It's kind of, you know, that one right there of Tina. It's a good photograph. She took that one of Tina. I like in the newspapers. In the newspapers, they showed that photograph, and usually the caption was one of Radachek's quotes, like "Lay off Tina. She's had a long day." Rat loved Tina. I'm convinced of that. Rat sent Tina some perfume, Chanel, as a happy after the hijacking. Rat loves Tina. I don't know if it's in that kind of way, but maybe a sister way. I don't know, but he really likes Tina. He really loved Tina. I think he still does. Every time Rat talks about Tina, he cries. I mean, we have that video of Rat crying about Tina. I thought maybe I did. I'll have to find that one of. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Do I have that of Rat crying over Tina? Let me see. Well, I've got one of Rat crying, I guess. Is that? What is this? I don't know what this is. I'm playing it. I don't know what it is.
The airplane from the back with all the rest of the passengers aboard the steps the same way he went out. And
I don't know why I had that clip on my computer. I don't know what what Rat was saying there, but I guess I do have Rat crying, of course, always. Rat, like I said, he is always crying. There's that one clip of him from the HBO documentary where he's crying. Let's see if it'll play with some good volume, maybe. Whenever it loads, I'll play it for you. And for those who haven't seen it. It's still loading. Anyway. Rat giving a speech to the retired. Yeah, it's one of him. It's online. But yeah, he has to stop talking because he says, "I have a bowling ball in my throat." Because he's talking about Tina. Let's see if I can hear this. I hope the audio is loud. Great clip there. Yeah, Rat's a good guy. Mr. Yellow Sweater himself, Mr. Rogers Radachek. Radachek. We love Rat. But let me see. What am I doing? Anyway, all right. The Queen says, I am working on recreating the real Northwest Orient stewardess outfit for CooperCon. Even got the single winged pin. Yeah, I got one of those too. Yeah, I got one of those ordered off eBay recently. The little pin they wore, little wing pin. Yeah, their outfits were pretty basic for the time period. I mean, you look at who was it? Southwest. Let me try to find that photograph of that. I think it was Southwest Airlines. That they were really out there as far as their. I think it was Southwest had the infamous little shorts. Yeah, so this Northwest Airlines stewardesses were very conservative compared to other stewardesses of that time period. I mean, this is 71. It says it's Southwest. So yeah, look at that. That's something. And Pacific Southwest had a really crazy color scheme. Is this it? Yeah, Pacific Southwest are the ones had the creamsicle. Let me pull them up. Yeah, there's that. And oh my God, is it PSA? I forget what airline this would be, but they had a pretty wicked outfit as well. So yeah, so Northwest Orient's outfit was pretty subdued compared to these of the same exact time period, right? I mean, if we pull up one of my little graphics of the of the uh, of the stews, their outfits were, like I said, pretty mild. Where is it? Do I have that? Yeah, here we go. I think I showed this last week, but the little animation that I made there. Yeah, I mean, so those are pretty subdued compared to the other ones. Yeah, you definitely don't see that style nowadays. We'll move our tails for you. That's right. Yeah, mini skirts. And do I have a complete Cooper cosplay? I don't know. We'll have to see about that. Perhaps. But yeah, there's a Flo giving Cooper the death stare in that photograph there. All right, let's see. All right, what else are we going to talk about, people? So I've talked about that. Citizen Sleuths, a book about citizen sleuths. Well, I don't know who would buy that. I don't know who would buy a picture of the citizen sleuths. Yeah. Packer just sent me a good one of the good Northwest Orient photographs. That's pretty good. Let me try to show that. But just so they were basic compared to those other ones for sure. I mean, very conservative. The little hats were cute though. She's not wearing her boots either. Yeah, we have nonstop. Oh yeah, nonstop from St. Paul to San Francisco. Yeah, and they went to Miami too. That's actually where they were headed the next day. Flight 305 and that crew were headed, not Flight 305, they'd be a different flight, but the crew, they worked together for about a month. This was actually their last rotation together, that same crew. They were going to Miami the next day, and they were bummed that they didn't get to go to Miami. Zodiac citizen sleuths might be the worst I've ever encountered. Well, I mean, there are a few out there. Well, thank you. But my book about the copycat. See, I don't know if I'll ever be able to write that book because it's already been written. It's kind of written out from under me. The McNally book, Hijacking of American Flight 119, is basically a copycat book. It's got 9 separate chapters about the individual copycats, essentially. So I think it's already been done, the copycat book. Not by me. Well, I may do one, but it's this kind of the same book. Zodiac citizen sleuths have claimed that sketch lines were forehead scars. No, that's Colbert. Was that not Colbert? Somebody help me out here. Wasn't that Colbert? The Colbert suspect that he came out with a year ago? He had facial scars. And the scarring were the wrinkles. Oh no, I can't be Cooper. I've got this whenever I raise my eyebrows. I'm doing this. Can't be Cooper. All right. Colbert is a double offender, DB Cooper and Zodiac. I know. He'll posit somebody else. What is Colbert's next move? A Kennedy assassin? Maybe he'll appropriate Skip Hall maybe he'll steal the work of Packer on Skip and make Skip the second gunman, which, to be honest with you, man, Skip's probably more likely to be the second gunman than to be Cooper, to be honest. I think there is a lot of smoke to the Skip Hall Kennedy fire for sure. I read Skies Belong to Us. It's well written, but the brief Cooper recap is full of errors. Yeah, I mean, again, anything written before the modern times is going to be citing. I mean, if you're writing a Cooper thing, that's the problem with, if you're writing a Cooper work of literature before the vault files, you just have to rely on previously written stories, which are mostly false. I mean, I think I talked about last week with Darren and them that Ralph Himmelsbach's book gets Cooper in the wrong seat. I mean, this is, you would think, one of the authorities on the case, and he has the seat. He has Cooper sitting in 15. No, it's 18B. It's Bill Mitchell's seat, or maybe it's 15C. One of those two. It's bad. I mean, maybe Himmelsbach's the 15C. Yeah, 15C. I think. It's like, how do you get 18E from whatever? Larry Howard was probably a shooter, and Lauren Hall might have been the Secret Service impersonator, if I had to guess. Larry Howard. Whoop, 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 whoop. I got the Larry. That's less Larry Fine. I got the Stooges. Regarding negotiable American currency, would someone like Braden, who had been a mercenary, been more likely to qualify as request in that unusual way? I don't think so. I mean, he's still an American, right? He's in America. I don't think a brief time as a mercenary in the Congo, if that's what he was really doing, is going to make you say anything other than bucks or dollars. Hemi said Cooper had black loafers too. Yeah, Hemi said a lot of things. Hemi said a lot of wrong things. Cigarette stained fingers, piercing black eyes. Somebody says, I think Braden was the guy I was thinking of. I said, Braden, it's hard to eliminate a suspect. I like what Marty Andrade says, that whenever we find Cooper, he's only going to be 20%. I mean, he's only going to be 80% of what we think Cooper is. There's going to be something different. There almost always is with eyewitnesses and things like this. So, I mean, I don't think height is the one, but I'm not so certain about the height that I would completely eliminate Ted Braden. If it was something else, I mean, if Braden was bald or something or whatever, Braden was short. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. But I mean, Braden is so good in other ways. That's the problem with Ted. Although Ted's nose still a little bothersome. If you're looking at these guys, this is the one that I did a cleanup of Ted Braden's military ID photo just for fun last week. It'd be pretty good. His eye color was wrong there, I think. His eyes are too dark in that. But I think Ted had lighter colored eyes. I think I got his eyes wrong. His eyes were hazel, although hazel can be brown in certain lighting. I have hazel eyes. My eyes can look brown, or they can look blue sometimes. So my eyes change. Braden is good. Skip is perfect. Someone says. I guess I just. Yeah, Black Wingy. I know. It's tough, man. Braden's so short. No way a 5'9". Well, Tina says she was 5'8", and her ID says 5'8". Tina was 5'8". Yeah, I've said it a million times, folks. Try to imagine whatever height you are. Try to imagine suggesting that somebody is 4 inches taller than you, who it turns out is actually your height. So I'm 6'1". That would be me being robbed by somebody. Or me not being robbed. I mean, Tina, was around the guy. Flo saw him walk across the tarmac. I mean, if I interacted with somebody and who was 6'1", and I told the FBI they were 6'5", that's dramatic, right? That's a huge difference. I mean, that seems unlikely. Ryan, if you had asked me what color eyes you had based on me watching your live streams, I would have said blue. No, they're hazel and they can be really brown sometimes. I'm 5'8" in boots, just like Braden. I never get confused with Ryan's height of 6 foot. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough with Ted. It's tough. He's the eye identification is fickle as hell. Like, no way. Yeah. I don't, eye color, unless it's like, I have a fake picture of Sheridan Peterson's eyes. I mean, unless you've got like Peterson eyes, then yeah, it looks like it's Sheridan Peterson's eyes. Like Cooper didn't have eyes like these, right? I mean, those are baby blue eyes, or like Vince Peterson, right? Those are baby blue eyes. That's not going to be confused with brown. And again, Cooper was swarthy. He put swarthy skin on a olive complected. I don't know who's swarthy, but like olive complected. Put that with baby blue eyes, and that's really striking. I think that would be noticeable. Yeah, McCoy was estimated to be 5'5". Yeah, by one of the stews. I almost wonder if that's a typo. It's so bad. Like, how could you get 5'5"? But yeah, Tina was 5'8". She would have noticed Cooper was at her eye level. Yeah, and it's hard to say how often Cooper was standing up. I mean, I feel like he had to have been standing up a few times there by the end. When he puts on his parachute, obviously he was standing up, and Tina is just chilling. When Cooper's messing with the money bag and he's putting on his parachute, Tina's just hanging out, watching the happenings. She's sitting in Tina's sitting in 18C, just like looking across the aisle, watching Cooper do what he's doing. There she is there. So she just sat there and looked at Cooper the whole time. So, I mean, she would have seen him stand up and put on a parachute and things like that. I mean, he was obviously probably standing up when he was messing with the money bag. You got to have some leverage to do that sort of stuff. And obviously putting on a parachute, you're going to have to stand up. So, I mean, she got a decent, McCoy was Tina saw his back standing before she closed the curtain. Actually, he was facing her, OG. He was facing her when she closed the curtain. She said he waved at her. She said that he waved at her goodbye as she closed the curtain. So he was looking right at her. Cooper was slouching. Well, no, Cooper slouching is why you get such short estimates from the passengers. That's why you get 5'9", I believe, from Gregory and from guys like Mitchell. It's because Cooper is slouching. Literally, she says he's bent over the whole time. They said it was relaxed. Slouching is the word they used. Oh my God. Cooper had Benzedrine pills, maybe track down doctors who prescribed Benzedrine in 71. That'd be ridiculous. He really waved goodbye. Yes, that's what Tina apparently told Tusaw. He was geeked out on Adderall. He was something. Nicole says, hazel eyes can be deceiving. I have hazeless eyes, and they definitely change color. Yeah, Nicole, I would say you had brown eyes. If I had to picture you, I would think you had brown eyes. But what a villain. He waved goodbye. Never intended to blow anybody up. I mean, yes, Packer nailed it. I agree. Packer says, I still think Cooper was mentally ill. It could have been a suicide mission in so many ways had the flight attendants and all them handled it differently. Okay, I agree. How easy was dynamite to get? I've heard conflicting information. Well, it was very easy to get. In fact, I have an article that I found from, I think, 1970, where some journalists go into a hardware store, and the whole point of their article, it was like a nationwide article, was an expose, was like, hey, it's easier to get dynamite than to get like prescription medication. So they, I believe they paid $3 for a dozen sticks of dynamite at a hardware store. Didn't have to give their name or fill out anything. They just bought it from a hardware store. So dynamite could be totally bought at a hardware store back then to blow up beaver dams and things like that, stumps in your yard. Dynamite was, easily purchased. You need to publish your book. Well, I got literary agents looking at it, so I'm trying to get. Geez, how about a Cooper graphic novel? My niece is a graphic artist. I could maybe I'll get her to do something with me. The waving goodbye is definitely a bit strange. I don't know. Look, that doesn't mean he wasn't a sociopath. Look, McNally will very easily admit to you, if you ask him, he would have killed people that day for his own benefit. He was prepared to kill people, but he was still nice enough to where they straightened his wig out when his wig got crooked, right? He was still nice enough to give the stewardesses a tip. McNally did. He gave him $2,500 or so. Is Mac a sociopath? Might have been back then. He's different. Mac's a different character for sure. Mac's just fearless, I think. I don't know if Mac's crazy, but Mac's just fearless. Mac has no fear. Talk to his family members. They said Mac had completely no fear of anything in his life. Just his whole life, he just wasn't afraid of anything. And Mac has told me, he's like, I don't know what fear is. I don't know why people get afraid of things. So, maybe Cooper was waving at her to hurry out of there. I could have been like, go on, bye. Oh, I don't know though. I think that Tina was wanting to get the hell out of there for sure. Jim says, Professor Jim says, I like the podcast Infamous America, but stopped listening after 2 minutes on the D.B. Cooper case. They had him sitting in seat 18C. They'll do that. All right. Cooper waved goodbye because she told him to jump out the back instead of the side door out of Clay Hellam. Yeah. As Detler said, criminals can be nice people too. Skip has epilepsy. Yeah, he did, or at least he said he did to get out of the army when he was. We're not sure about that. Drews is saying not good for Scott free falling. Well, Skip packed parachutes and things. Skip presumably had the 5 free fall jumps that were required to join Interpin. So. Like I said, his epilepsy may have been just an excuse to get out of the army, perhaps. Dillinger was a nice guy to civilians too. Well, Ted Bundy was a nice guy until he wasn't, right? Criminals or sociopaths especially are good at playing the roles they're supposed to take. Randy says that Skip was also taking amphetamines, which inhibit epileptic fits. Yeah, he was arrested. Skip was arrested with Benzedrine, which is, you talk about checking all the boxes. Skip checks a lot of boxes for sure. Benzedrine confirmed, Raleigh cigarettes. He checks a lot. Maybe too handsome though. Maybe too handsome. The epilepsy doesn't bother me, or if that's even true on him. Could have just been, it's like when Lee Seller was kicked out of the Army, Air Force. What we think. Lee Seller allegedly had sinus issues that sent him home from Europe when he was a pilot. He was a bomber pilot and flown a bunch of missions. And there's that. Prove Raleigh. Well, that's the thing. We're going to see if you can prove Raleigh. Proving Raleigh is hard to do. There is a photograph of Skip. I think we've tried to figure that out. It's a photograph of Skip where a pack of cigarettes is next to him, but it's hard to see. I think his lighter might be laying on top of it or something. It's kind of hard to tell what he's smoking. I believe his family just remembered that he smoked cigarettes with the pirate guy on the front, which sounds like Raleigh cigarettes. Didn't Orville Lions? Drew's going to stick with Green Berets. Perhaps. Didn't Orville Lyons work for Raleigh or whatever? He said that, yes, Orville Lyons said that he worked. I mean, it's almost makes you wonder if he was just saying that. If I have that somewhere, because that really is the damnedest thing. That Lyons is like, oh yeah, I worked. He told them that he worked for like Raleigh products. And it's like, are you doing like the Kaiser Sose thing where you're just making shit up based on the names of things? Like maybe he knew that Raleigh cigarettes were smoked by Cooper because he was Cooper, and that was on all the billboards and things. So of course he tells the FBI, I smoke Lucky Strikes and Chesterfields, whatever he says, you know. Oh God. Do I remember off the top of my head which part of the FBI files Orville Lyons' stuff is in? Oh boy. Either 88 or 89. I think, it's either at the beginning of some of Lyons is either, I'll find out for you. Lyons is either in the beginning of, yeah, okay, yeah. Lyons is going to be in Vault 88. Yeah, I just pulled it up. Yeah. Torn leg up, fell out of tree. Come on now. Pinned right leg has atrophy. Little doctor unknown. He's like, oh yeah, I don't know the name of the doctor. Conveniently, I forgot the name of the doctor who pinned me up. Lyons is a creep. Yeah, at home working in trees when he fell. Okay, if you say so. He says he smokes Pall Malls, Camels, and Lucky Strikes. Underlined, Lyons brought up the hijacking. Like, not us. Yeah, Raleigh. It's Raleigh with a W, which is a real company. Remember, I looked it up. I looked up Raleigh, and Raleigh is a real company in Illinois. So either he knew that and did work for them, although I've never seen a connection with Illinois to him, I don't think. But somehow he knew it. Packer says, Skip had one seizure in 47. He never had another recorded episode after that. He got back into the Army from the reserve in 49, but because he was an expert shot, Fort Knox to Germany until 1952. Let's see. How do you feel about POIs who have gotten busted for less sophisticated crimes after Nordjak? Does that make them less probable to be Cooper to you? Good question. No, because I mean, I think a lot of Cooper getting away with it was him being the first. I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's a good question. I mean, I don't know though. You know, I mean, definitely it's not Dwayne Weber, right? Dwayne was busted shoplifting Kool-Aid packets from a Piggly Wiggly. So not, I mean, he could have been caught for something else. I mean, and that might be it, is he ended up in prison, right? Maybe Cooper ends up in prison and that's why we don't find him doing anything else. I really wish that, what's his face was Cooper. Frank, what's that cat's name? I'm having an off day. Frank Spritz. Like there was a bandit. There was a bank robbing pilot bandit throughout the 60s or the early 60s. Hoover hated the guy. And the guy looks just like, what was it? The guy has photographs that look just like you would think Cooper would look like. And he was a skydiving, or not he was he would steal planes. He would steal people's clothes. He would go into their houses and steal clothes. He wore other people's clothing. Weird guy, Frank something. I'll have to find that and show you guys. But you look at this one photograph and you're just like, oh snap. When you see it. His name is Francis. I'll find this for you guys because I want you to see this. Is it Frank? Frank. Where's old Frank? Is it Francis? Maybe his name was Francis. Oh no, come on now. Sorry, people. My bad. Let me try to find this because I really wanted to find this for you guys. Oh, I liked this guy. Yeah, there was a bank robber in, this is a funny sketch, a bank robber in 65 in LA. I actually looked into this guy because he'd have been the right age when the Cooper hijack. Yeah, Frank Sprins, that's it. But this guy would have been the right age. He'd have been 45, 6 when Cooper happens. Look at this guy here. Look at this sketch. Too many photos, it says. Check out this cat. The bank robber. It looks like Cooper. Very Cooper, isn't it? That's not Frank though. But boy, where is Frank? I thought we had a whole post. We had a whole daggone post about Frank Spritz on one of the Cooper groups, and I'm scrolling through to find it. This is driving me nuts that I can't find this guy. I know it was in the daggum Cooper research group. Sprins. I have to do a search for Sprins. Okay, here we go. Let's find some photographs of this guy. Here we go. Flying Frank. Look at this guy here. The skyjacker that got away before Cooper was Frank Sprins. Tell me if this don't look like Cooper to you, this photograph. Look at that. I mean, look at that. Just look at it. Just look at it. Just look at it. Look at it. Frank Sprins. But Frank was bald. That's the problem with Frank. Frank was paroled. Now, Frank was paroled from prison a few months before Norjack. But my thing about Frank is he had to be a suspect. I've never seen him in the FBI files, but good God. Perfect suspect, really, to be Cooper was Frank Sprins. He was like a piloting goon. Let me pull a better one from him, a closer angle of that. Amazing photograph. I mean, that could be a photograph of Cooper, right? May as well be. So, Jesus. But problem with Frank, though, yeah, he had a scar too. He had a noticeable scar on his face, apparently. Yeah, Randy says he would steal planes and then pull up to banks, rob them, and take off in the air, and then abandon those planes later. Yeah, he was like Hoover hated this guy. I don't know how he got out. So in like 70, whatever he got out in, or I guess 1970. Here's a better photograph of his face. You can see his face better. Very hoodlummy looking, I'll say that. But I mean, he's ugly too. That's for damn sure. Oh, Frank is hideous looking. You want to see an ugly Cooper? Check this dude out. That dude. Got the right nose, doesn't he? I mean, Frank was bald. That's the only problem with Frank. And he's got a scar. He's the right size, though. And maybe he wore a balding toupee. I know. Looks like a Castro goon. Yeah, he was definitely a goon. For sure. Oh, Frank. Yeah, some of the comments about him that people would say about the bank robberies that Frank would participate in. Some of the comments that people would say who were robbed by Frank. Look at this one here. This is a victim of his. Says Sprintz described during his fugitive days as a charming person with cool poise of a stage professional. All right. Let me see. Let's look at the different sketches of Cooper compared to Frank. There we go. I mean, I think that might be a toupee he's wearing there. Yeah, he's not that nose that yeah, and his nose is really close to the sketch, isn't it? Did he wave goodbye to the bank tellers? I don't know. What else did Frank do? He was in the army for a while. He was a well-known, accomplished car thief. He spent time in Portland and Seattle. Frank did. There's another. Well, I mean, I guess Frank could have waved goodbye to people. Let's see. Here's another Frank Sprintz quote. According to his wanted poster, Frank Sprintz likes to wear Ivy League style clothing and is said to be studious and quiet spoken. Ample evidence of his courtly manners was witnessed during his robbery of the Hamilton, Ohio bank. He graciously thanked the employees and customers for their cooperation as he made his hasty exit. So, yeah, Frank's it says Frank took his first flying lessons in Seattle. It's interesting. He was tall enough. He was 5'11", 196 pounds, an expert swimmer, skilled marksman, auto mechanic, and construction worker. He died in 1990. So here's a photograph of him in 1971, early 71, coming out of prison. So make of it what you will. This is him with his mama coming out of prison in early 71 for his bank robberies. So there's that. Let's see if I can zoom in on his face there so we can look at him and not his mama. Frank Sprintz. Look at that. I mean, not much of a turkey neck, but his lower lip is definitely fat. I mean, he's got the sideburns. We know he has a skinny nose. But again, Frank's bald, though. Anyway, Frank is okay. So here's a close-up image of his face. It's actually a really good one, actually, right here. Yeah, I agree, Randy. He would have been looked at really early. I mean, surely to God, a guy who was on the FBI's radar as a aviation bandit, right? Now, that was his MO was aviation crimes. Yeah, there we go. So you can see a scar there on his chin. See, that seems to be, I mean, that would have to be noticed, and that was from before the hijacking. So, because he had that in his FBI wanted information from I love this. Here's a quote from J. Edgar Hoover about Frank Sprintz, who he just couldn't stand. J. Edgar Hoover himself, when J. Edgar Hoover says this about you, you're a badass criminal, said, "No criminal more daring than Sprintz has ever appeared on the FBI's list of 10 most wanted." No criminal more daring than Sprintz. So that sounds like Cooper, right? Daring criminal. So yeah, This is great. It says, during his long run from the FBI, which lasted almost a year, Frank traveled 25,000 miles. He stole 29 automobiles and 3 airplanes, and he used 35 different aliases. He said he told FBI agents that he had become quite an admirer of the FBI. His escape from Charleston, he went to Carrington, North Dakota. There he bought a Piper. He flew it to Newport, Oregon, then flew all the way to Mexico. So not a bad Cooper. He just don't about that scar though. I mean, lighting in the plane. Yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know. But hey, he's good. He's good though. I mean, he's all right. I just wish that. I remember I almost had a panic attack when we first discovered Frank Sprins. It's like, oh my God. Because he's kind of perfect, really, isn't he? Except for it's always something in it. Got a scar. It's like Braden's short. It's always something. It's like, come on, man. Perhaps Frank hunched over and pouted extra to hide the chin scar. I know. Daring is knowing the CIA will bail you out of jail. Like Braden. I think we maybe Drew's in the chat. I don't know. I think we learned that Braden was in jail throughout most of the 80s. Didn't we figure that out? Johnston, accomplice? Anything new to that? No. I agree. Yeah, that's one of the few things that could have held water in the case is Johnston. No, nothing new on him. I tried. Believe me, before I put the video out, I spent a week on that trying to figure out more on him and find possible associates of Johnston, and it sucks. Chasing ghosts here 50-something years later. Yeah, in some ways it's easier if there's a bunch of issues, but it's always so frustrating when there's just one issue. Yeah, these silver bullets will do it for you. I mean, being super short, should be a silver bullet, and being bald especially. Again, Cooper had receding. Cooper's hair was a lot like mine, I think. It was receding, and he had a little bald. So he said slightly balding and receding hair. So I think Cooper actually may have had a little more hair than I do, because they said Cooper had more hair than McCoy, and I don't know. I think McDoofus's hair and my hair is probably similar when he was arrested. No, McCoy's got less hair than I do, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I think McCoy's got less hair than I do. I don't know. We're similar, aren't we? Hey, y'all are going to see me one day. I'm going to go to Turkey, baby. I'm going to go to Turkey and get some hair plugs. You guys are going to see me with a bandana on my head at some point. I'm going to get me some Turkish hair plugs so I don't go bald. And lose them. You guys are making me lose my hair. This whole Cooper thing is making me lose my hair at an advanced rate lately. But yeah, I'm going to go to Turkey. We've been those Turkish guys. I've known some people who've done that. And it looks pretty good. But the History Channel told you McCoy was Cooper. I know, they told me that too. Why Turkish? They have the market. The plugs never work out. No, they do. Not plugs though. They're not plugs. It's your hair. They just take it from where it's not dead and make it. So it is your hair. It's not saying it doesn't work out. It's just better hair, I guess. Did any witnesses say Cooper had a bald spot? No, but Alice uses the term slightly balding. You think I don't use Rogaine and finasteride? What do you think this is? Bruh. Thailand ladyboy hair plugs. No, about that. But no, Alice used the term slightly balding. Now, that makes me wonder if, like balding is bald spot. But see, balding can also mean losing your hair, right? And if somebody said you're losing your hair, somebody might say a receding hairline is balding. So, like, I mean, Alice said he was slightly balding, and, Alice would have, the only time Alice really interacted with Cooper was, uh, was when she went back there and with Tina and all them, and she was asking to leave. That was the only time that they were back there, that Alice was around Cooper. So, I mean, he would have been sitting. Alice said she never saw Cooper standing. So I guess she could have spotted a bald spot from that angle, right? Yeah. I had to make Alice shorter than the others. Alice was the shortest one. She was barely 5'2". I think that's why Alice had the high hair. It made her look taller because she was very petite. She was the shortest of the crew. Just don't be self-conscious. Shave it off. No, I'm not shaving my head. No. I'm going to wear the bandana. I'm going to come back from Turkey. I can't fight it. I'm going to fight it. I will not go gently into this good night. I used to be vain about my hair. This is God's punishment for being vain about my hair. Does Jackson or Mississippi have any of its own unsolved mysteries? No. Nothing too much. I mean, we had some, sad to say, some murders of civil rights people who ended up, those were unsolved for a while, of course, thanks to all white juries. They weren't really unsolved. Then in the 90s, those people were convicted and sent to prison. So, but no, nothing like Coopery that I know of. Let's see. When I was a prosecutor, we did have a serial killer. Well, he would have been a serial killer, I think, if they hadn't caught the guy. Let's see. I guess Curtis Flowers' murder, or not the quadruple homicide that my relative prosecuted. Won't say his name. I have a relative who prosecuted that and was infamous for prosecuting that poor guy 8 times, Curtis Flowers. But I guess if Curtis Flowers didn't do the quadruple homicide, then somebody did. Let's see. Shaved head or goatee? Shaved head and a goatee. No, I'm not doing the goatee. Speaking of hair, the hair slide somewhere. Yeah, they canceled my damn FOIA, weirdly enough, on that. Don't know what that was all about, why they had to cancel my FOIA. Ryan, yours is a family of lawyers. No, just, I guess this is the only other one, but he's also a DA of some infamy lately, if you listen to podcasting. Good guy, though. To me at least. I mean, look, man, when you're a prosecutor, and the thing about being a prosecutor is you are elected, for one thing, for a DA, at least in Mississippi, you're elected. And you have a quadruple homicide, and you have the family of 4 people who were murdered and, at a store, was working, were executed, working at a furniture store. You're gonna keep, and he thinks Curtis Flowers was guilty, and some people still do. Was he handsome? Was who handsome? Who's handsome? Was he? Who are we talking about? It's handsome, Mystery Bag. I love that name, by the way. Mystery Bag 305. We love the Mystery Bag. We are lucky to have Mark and Ryan as our legal eagles. Mark is the best. Yeah, Mark's awesome. Mark's actually was friends. The guy's dead now, but Mark actually was friends with McCoy's lawyer. And if McCoy was Cooper, he would have told his lawyer that. It would have helped to be Cooper, actually. If McCoy was Cooper, it would have helped him out, honestly, to work out a deal. You admit to both, and you get less time. Weird how that works, but it's true. You admit to other crimes that they can strike off their list of investigating, then it actually helps you. But no, we know McCoy wasn't Cooper. I mean, the guy talks like this. Not like this, probably. Yeah, I remember he had a Southern accent, too. Your lawyer relative. Is he handsome? Yeah, Doug's all right. Okay. What do you think of judges being elected versus appointed? Okay, so I'll tell you something backwards. In Mississippi, so Mississippi and Texas, just with the only two states where justice court judges don't have to be lawyers, don't have to be licensed to the bar. Justice court, for those who don't understand legal stuff, justice court is like county court. So like misdemeanors where you're arrested by sheriff's deputies in America. So if you're arrested by city police doing something misdemeanor, you go to city court or municipal court. Justice courts are if you're arrested by sheriff's deputies for misdemeanor crimes, it goes to justice court. So they don't have to be lawyers in Mississippi or Texas. And it's some old law. I don't know what it is. So and so I have to go practice sometimes in front of, like, there's a judge on the Mississippi Gulf Coast down there in Biloxi who he owns the local Hooters. And the guy can sentence people. He's not a lawyer, owns local Hooters, and he can sentence people up to a year in jail. And like, you can try to make legal arguments with somebody who's not a lawyer in court. It's not good. So it's really, really stupid. Okay, so Mike Ferguson says magistrates in PA also don't have to be lawyers. You would think. Yes, the guy in the video figured it out. I know, Mr. Smug McSmuggington. He committed the same crime. Yeah, if you've not seen my video, go watch my latest video. I had my meltdown. I mean, I had no idea there was going to be a friggin' McCoy documentary, and they're going to have friggin' Bernie Rhodes, most unscrupulous author. The Recca authors are pretty unscrupulous too. Not saying Lisa Story is, but Carl Lauren, Koenig, those dudes who wrote books about Recca, they know better. I think like guys like Colbert, I think he's a true believer. You could see how disappointed Colbert really was in those documentaries when like Tina's like, not Rackstraw. And Tina would have seen Rackstraw's photo probably back in the day. Well, I was so upset, Elizabeth. Yeah. I had to go back in post-production and I had to go back in post-production and fix that. Because in the original live reaction, it was just me going, oh. So I was like, okay. Well, it wasn't as pedantic as I wanted to be. Like I said, YouTube, stupid algorithms. And for God's sake, anybody watching this who watches my videos, okay, like the video. Not particularly the live streams, but like on my little mini videos, like that last one, or the one I did about Johnston or whatever, like it. If it gets 200 likes, it boosts the algorithm, okay? I got like 200 likes on my McCoy video on the first Dan Grider parachute debunking. And I ended up getting 50,000 views because if you get 200 likes, it boosts up the algorithm, okay? Which means it spreads it. It says, okay, well then this must be interesting. So it spreads it to other people who don't see my stuff normally. That's how I get new subscribers. I've been stuck on this for a while, like around 2,500 subscribers. And I need more people. Come on, a lot of folks don't know about me. So please, I mean, the majority of you do not like my videos. I'm not saying you have to like this live stream, but it's cool if you do. But like my other videos, please like them. It doesn't cost you anything to like a video. And it really, really helps. I hate to like pedal for likes and things, but like I work hard on my videos, especially like the ones, you know, like the long form narrative of the hijacking. You know, for that to only have 2,000 views, come on, it's better than that. I'm not trying to be, I'm not somebody arrogant, but like I know it's better than 2,000 views on YouTube. Some of the stuff I put out. I do get comments every now and then. They're like, "Geez, how is this video so well produced and only has 120 views?" Like, I don't know. Well, thank you, Alex, for smashing the like button. Yes, go back in time and like all my button things. And my videos are well produced. Thank you very much. I try hard. Anyway, what else? Yeah, Nikki says, can confirm that Colbert was a true believer. Should we go make fun of Heinemann again? You know, about how ridiculous Heinemann is as a suspect. I mean, like, literally somebody who cannot admit they're wrong has Heinemann as a suspect. And yeah, I'm picking on you, Flyjack. I'm going to keep doing it too. Let's get Ryan on retainer for the Disney Channel. I don't want to be on the Disney Channel. I want to be on TV. I like talking to you guys. I don't need to be on TV. I don't need to have some asshole do a reaction video to my videos. Somebody said I should react to my own videos. I probably could. I mean, like, I've changed a lot. Something about Flyjack. He's like, you change your opinion on things. Well, yeah, isn't that what you do? Like, when you get new evidence, you change your opinion on things. Like, you know, I didn't think Cooper's nose was that huge of a deal until I start looking through the FBI files a couple years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. You start digging deep and you see that guy's nose is too big. Nose is too big. Nose is too big. Can't be Cooper. Nose is too big. Cooper's nose way smaller than that. Cooper's nose, this hijacker's nose was whisker than that. Oh, the hijacker's nose was longer than that. I mean, repeatedly. So yeah, I'm going to change my opinion. I'm going to say, yeah, I think Cooper had a skinnier nose. You changed your opinion. Like, well, isn't that what you do? I'm evidence-based. So yeah, I changed my opinion on things. Yeah, I used to think Cooper wasn't so much of an asshole, but now I do think he was an asshole. Okay, question, Black Wingy. Will a newbie like myself who's fascinated by Cooper have a good time at CooperCon? Of course. Dude. Black Wingy, you've got to come to CooperCon. It is like so much fun. Even Flyjack would have a good time there. I don't know about that. He'd have a good time. We've invited him to come to CooperCon. He'll get in a fight probably. But no, you'll have a great time at Cooper. CooperCon is awesome because you get to just hang out and drink with Tom Kay and Bruce. And who are the guests at CooperCon? Yeah, newbies have the most fun. That's true. It's all old school to us. I put QR codes for Ryan's videos in the stalls of the truck stop men's room. Thank you. Who are the guests at CooperCon? I don't know. I'd like to meet Mac. Yeah, I really would like, that's my goal this year, is to get Hetty and Mac there before they're both put out to pasture, I guess. But yeah, I'd like to have Hetty and Mac there together. I'd like to reach out again to Paulsini. I don't think that Paulsini, I heard a phone call. I'm pretty sure that Chris Cunningham talked to Paulsini, the real one. I overheard that phone call. He had it on speakerphone. I think that was the real Paulsini we're talking to. And he just said, oh, I'm not that Paulsini. He was. It's like, I'm not that Paulsini. People confuse me a lot for that Paulsini, but I'm not that guy. It's like, okay, how many Paulsinis are there that are the same age? Don't know about that. When is CooperCon and where? It's going to be in Portland. Well, it's specifically Vancouver. November 14th, 15th, 16th this year. Get some Northwest veterans just for context. I mean, if we can't get Tina, maybe we can get, or Flo or Alice this year, there is a stewardess in Seattle who knew all those girls, who was the same age and worked on the same planes. Hey, Ryan, have you spoken to Robert Edwards? Of course. I've got Robert Edwards' number. I've texted. I've had phone calls with Dr. Edwards. He's all right. We did, Bob and I have some problems. Not problems. I mean, it's all respectful, but like he's trying to reinvent the wheel with the drop zone stuff, like saying that the pressure bump might not have been Cooper jumping. Well, come on, it was. And he seems to ignore I send Edwards constantly, anytime I come across a copycat hijacking somebody where they're talking about the pressure bumps from the copycats, the pilots are like, oh yeah, we felt like a cork popping when McNally jumped or whatever. I send that to him and don't get a really good response. Ryan, if you could reset your memory and you could re-experience the entire case from scratch, would you do it? No, because I'm not like married to anything, right? I'm able to change my opinions. I don't have any like, there's nothing about Cooper that it's like getting bitched at for talking about how Comp A is probably the right sketch. It's like, I don't have a suspect who looks like Comp A. I don't care, but I'm just going off my brain, right? My brain tells me that a sketch made 3 days later is going to be better than a sketch made 9 months later. And that's common sense, right? So that just doesn't, I mean, how is that controversial? It's only controversial when your suspect looks absolutely nothing like Comp A. Not that your suspect looks a damn like Comp B, but yeah, of course you're going to be opposed to this guy being the right sketch. Freaking ridiculous. Anyway, will I need negotiable American currency to buy beer? Yes, you will. You will need a negotiable American currency, legal tender, to buy a ticket to CooperCon. Burnsy, where's our Cubbies hat tonight? Great episode. Hey, the Cubbies won. Cubs hats are, it's over there somewhere. Yeah, the Cubbies won. Do I still think the money is buried somewhere? I don't know, man. I hate to be that way. I don't know. I mean, I think the money could have been spent. Some of it could have been spent. Some of it lost. I mean, it's weird that money's there. Why would anyone just get rid of money? I mean, $6,000 is a lot of money now. Back in the 70s, it was like $50,000. Will Rat come to CooperCon? Rat was supposed to come the COVID year, I think. He's a little older now. He was in Rat's, I don't know if his health is great, really. Rat was in a bicycle accident. He was pretty healthy. Rat was a runner. Rat was like a marathon runner. Rat, and I think he was riding a bike 4 or 5 years ago, and like maybe broke his neck or something. I don't know. He's around. Ryan, have you interviewed Tina or Flo? Would that be your dream? I will say nothing. I say nothing. Packer says he thinks the serial numbers were altered and was laundered internationally. Yeah, I'm not even sure if you needed to alter the serial numbers to launder it internationally. I mean, honestly, if you take that money to Argentina, I mean, how much of that is going to eventually come back to America? Some, but not a lot. Why would someone put it near water? Tina Bar is a crazy place to put money. I agree. I agree. I don't know everything about Tina Bar, guys. I don't know everything about the money. I just don't know. It's weird how you can not have like no opinion on things. Like, I'm supposed to be an expert, right? We need a Tina Bar book. Have fun, my man. Have fun doing that. I did get a photograph of the Tina Bar money find spot from the FBI. I'll share that. It's in my book, but I don't know if I've shown that yet. I did FOIA for the exact money find spot, Tina Bar. I did get it. I think this is it. Yep. It's going to be it. Yeah, right there. So can't really, basically where that, I mean, it's kind of in the middle of the photograph. You see where the dirt's they've really kind of dug down into it a little bit. I hope, it's hard to say, but I hope this photograph was taken as soon as they arrived. It doesn't look torn up yet. These photographs don't look too torn up. I think it's as they started down the beach. They did just gotten there, I think. The FBI, when they took these photographs. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's completely torn up yet. And we can tell that's the spot too, because the Ingrams came and did a photo shoot like 2 years later. And you can match up that photograph of the money find spot with where they are in the photograph, you see? And you can already see how much the beach has eroded a little bit in just 2 or 3 years. That's so closer. So the water looks closer in that photograph there. So that's funny, Mike. Mike says McCoy spent the entire ransom on black in Vegas, and it was red. That's true. Nikki says, I think if all the bills minus the $6,000 were put in circulation, at least one bill would have turned up somewhere. Yeah, probably. Yeah, there were 200 something star notes. Those, should have come up. I don't know. But like, why would you? Why would you not? I don't know. Why would you not spend that money? I don't know. Just go somewhere and again, it would not be hard to launder the Cooper money. Like not even a little bit. Go to Vegas. Okay. Go to a blackjack table and throw down $100 of 20s. And the dealer is going to give you chips. And they're going to put those 20s in a little thing. And you can take those chips to the checkout and get $100 or whatever. It is not hard to launder money in Vegas. Not even remotely hard, especially in those days, right? So, not that difficult. I once thought the accepted view was that the bills had been rounded by water action, but now we all agree it was deliberately buried. Seems like it was deliberately buried. The hydrologist who's in the vortex says that it would basically be impossible for money to be buried like that. That's just not how it works. To be self-burial that deep is not a thing, really, unless there's a freaking avalanche or something. And remember, this beach was eroding. It wasn't like, a landslide was coming down on it. Now, they did put dredge spoils on top of areas. But apparently, the dredge spoils were on top of, I think, a different area, maybe. So rounded or not, they're not really rounded. They're just torn up. They're torn to shit. I wouldn't call them rounded. They're just, the money's just torn up. Not sure if I'd say rounded. Yeah, yeah, I guess those are kind of rounded, I guess. But I don't know if water would do that. I don't know why the money would degrade in that way. Because it was not submerged that long because it would have more diatoms on it than just a little bit. Who buries currency without wrapping it in saran wrap? Yeah, people who are throwing it away, or someone who wants it to be found, right? Bruce A. Smith, that's funny, Bruce A. Smith, okay. Bruce Smith said more bits of money were found on the shore there. Like it or not, he's telling the truth. He's not. He's talking about the shards, my man. We have photographs of these fragments. They're just, Jay, you can even see some of the shards right there on the top right. Bruce is talking about the pieces that flaked off. Okay. They were all up and down the beach because they were using friggin' shovels and rakes all up and down the beach. They weren't doing a good job of, they weren't archaeologists. I'll say that. Himmelsbach, the glory hound, is like, hey, go get your shovels and rakes and we'll go out there and screw stuff up. It was not very. I think this is a photograph here. Some FBI guys digging around with their hands and things. Yeah, look at that. So looking for the shards there. So they're picking up that's them picking up all the different shards that they unearthed, I think, when they started spreading out the sand. Those shards started going everywhere. Yep. Thank you, Nikki. Shards are a product of bad excavation. 100%. Jay says, is it possible that someone found that money and wanted nothing to do with it? So they knew it would be ransom money. Yeah. That was kind of my thought, is that Cooper gave that to somebody. Look, that's kind of the thing with this. We know that Cooper was being generous. He was able. Cooper. One thing we know about Cooper. Cooper did not have a $200,000 problem, right? Because if he's willing to give up, I mean, at least, I mean, he was willing to give Tina at least $2,000 and Flo and Alice $2,000 apiece. So he was willing to give up $6,000 probably. He did not have a $200,000 problem. Okay. So I think but yeah, why would you? So I think that being generous, it's possible that maybe it's a Pete Zimmerman McCoy situation, right? Pete Zimmerman gave McCoy a ride home. Maybe Cooper hitchhiked or something and came across some kid and was like, hey, take me to the airport. And when, the kid starts to drive away, Cooper chunks a bundle of money in there. Or maybe he leaves it in the car for him. Maybe he hides it in the car for him, the kid, and the kid finds it and goes, oh shit. And throws it out the window or something. Who knows? Maybe it was little Joe Fazio. Fazio's had kids. Maybe it's one of the Fazio kids gave Cooper a ride or something. I would say that I don't think Cooper had any idea how it got there. My guess is that Cooper did not know how that money got there. It is independent of Cooper. Yep. Cooper got $70,000 for shooting JFK. Well, if you listen to Skip Hall, they were offered $50,000 to kill JFK. Maybe it was to pay for the boat escape, like Bill Rollins said. I mean, the boat escape is, there was a great suspect for a while who I really liked, and maybe, I guess he's a dead suspect now, so I can talk about him. Maybe I'll talk about him. We think he was too short. We could never find his exact height. I worked a lot with the guy on this suspect. I wonder if I have photos of. Do I not have photos of Don? Come on. All right, come on now. Do I really not have photos of Don? Because I'd like to, if y'all to know about this guy. So there was a pilot who a couple of Delta Airlines guys thought in the late 90s, they contacted the FBI and said, hey, there was a guy who changed his name, who we used to work with, who suddenly changes his name in like the early 80s. Changes his name in the early 80s, and it's kind of a shady character, and he owned a lake house. He was Canadian, and he grew up in in the 50s flying float planes up and down from Vancouver, Canada, down to Portland and back when he was like 15, 16, 17. He had a pilot's license when he was really young. He ended up taking a date out on a plane in 1947, 49, something like that. He ended up crashing this plane in Seattle and Puget Sound, and the girl died. Actually ended up killing her. And just kind of a shady character. He had been a Canadian Air Force pilot in the 50s. Here he is. Yeah, here we go. Great. A swarthy, fat lip, Canadian pilot. He owned a cabin in 1971. He owned a float plane, and he was a pilot. He was a furloughed pilot for Delta, so he was not employed in 71. He was furloughed. And he had a lake house on a lake somewhere up in Canada that was accessible only by his float plane, apparently. I don't know how he built it but I guess, I don't know, but he had a float plane house. Let me see. And, or accessible by float plane. And it's a generally shady character, but we think he might have been too short. Somebody who knew him said he was like 5'8" or so. But they knew him as an old man. So maybe he had shrunk by then, and people do shrink. Let me show you these photos of this guy. He was pretty bad. He was pretty badly injured in the plane crash too. But yeah, a young girl, maybe it was his fiance or something. I think she died in the plane crash as well. Well, she did die in the plane crash, but like I think they may have been engaged. I don't know. But anyway, a furloughed airline pilot, which is what you want. Changes his name in the early 80s. No one liked him particularly. He had never had kids, never had a family, just a real loner. And I've seen a photograph of this lake house too. It's pretty cool. I mean, so like if you a boat escape, I mean, you could think about that. What's the island there? Yeah, Hayden Island. Hayden Island has boat float plane docks or whatever there. So Eric Eulis said he had seen the tapes of what? Oh, see, that's gross. Don't be saying that stuff. Anyway, here's our guy here. This is him after his wreck. He was in the paper after his wreck. And then here's him. This is him when he was like 18 years old. He's swarthy. He definitely olive complected. There's other photographs of him. Look at that lower lip. Look at this little skinny nose. Got the skinny nose, has a lower lip. Here's him in the hospital after being in his wreck. Fat lower lip, dark complected, skinny nose, Canadian, British Columbia. Very familiar with flying up and down Portland to Vancouver. Crashed his plane in Seattle. Canadian fighter pilot of some note in the 50s. So there's your Dan Cooper comic connection. How tall was he? I think he had a lot of hair too. How tall was he? What I'm saying is we could not, because he's Canadian, you can't just look up his draft card and things like that. So we turned out somebody who knew him as an old man said he was about 5'7". Now, way too short. But again, or 5'8" maybe. But again, maybe he shrank. He's an old man. People do shrink a couple inches when they get older. But yeah, that's him. So yeah, he was a good suspect, and but the guy who promoted him as a suspect is kind of laying low. What has a better suspect now, I would say, and he's gonna hopefully he's gonna come on my show. He's wanting to. Hopefully, he'll come on my show and introduce a new suspect. The Vortex is gonna like, I think. Like I was excited when Skip came out because I was like, oh shit, like we have a good suspect finally who is plausible. Like that's all I want is plausible. Like I don't like Rekka's not plausible. Okay, like there's just not many plausibles out there. And Rekka's Lyons is plausible. I mean, if Lee Sellers' eyes are unique. That's the only problem with Lee. His eyes are unique. He's got like almost Asian looking eyes. I don't know what his heritage was, but Lee's eyes are so unique that's really his only flaw. Lee Seller is his eyes, I think, really. Otherwise, he's a good suspect. Yeah, Packer, Milt, Ted, Skip. I mean, suspects are getting better for sure. I mean, if you look at, Gossett's not a terrible suspect, I guess. But like Barb's not great at all, obviously. Dwayne was not great. But again, this pre-FBI files, right? It's just before we knew that Cooper sounded like a pilot and was saying piloty things, pick it up in the air, IFR clearance. I mean, and we have the files. I mean, we have Radachek outright saying over the radio, this guy seems to know a thing or two about an airplane. Granted, if you look at the other hijackings, we've got them saying the same thing about McNally and about LaPointe, and those guys didn't know shit. I mean, they knew enough to complete their task. They studied enough to know about the plane to hijack it, but they weren't pilots. But Gossett's voice, Gossett. But as far as, I mean, Gossett's main problem is his nose. I mean, that nose is huge. And he has no real weird lower lip. He has no eyebrows to speak of, like none. Now, but Gossett's nose is gigantic. I mean, that's, let's look at Gossett. I mean, you're never going to get, when you look at Wolfie, you're never going to get, I mean, if they had seen Gossett, they'd have said his nose is too big. 100%. See, that's wide. That's a bit wider than Hahnemann's nose. No eyebrows. People like his hair. The problem is, Gossett, they just see his hair. So it's a bit like William J. Smith in some ways. The hair is what convinces people. So like, do this. Let's look at Gossett with hair. All right. So like, look at that. Heck, just at first glance, Gossett looks like a good comp B, right? Like, oh wow, because the hair, look at the hairline, it's perfect. But that's what your eye is drawn to: the head, the forehead, and the hair. But if you look at him without the hair, I mean, that's completely different guys, isn't it? Nothing similar at all. The eyes are totally different. Cooper's got eyebrows. Gossett doesn't. The nose is pointy. Gossett's nose is broad. Gossett's got thin lips. Gossett has the turkey neck. That's what he's got, though. Newish sub here. Hey, hello, TJ. Who is the most underrated suspect? L.D. Cooper. I think that L.D. Cooper has been written off. I'm not saying he's Cooper, but L.D. Cooper has been written off by people in the Vortex and myself for a long time, until we've learned some recent things about him that, to me at least, make him a little more plausible, which is that he was in the mental institute in Portland until a month before the hijacking. And he used his last name, Cooper, for his aliases. So his problem, I mean, he's got knocks against him. Don't get me wrong. The guy was a drunk, but I mean, brother worked for Boeing. LD's better than people would think. That's what I'll say. LD's better than, I mean, LD doesn't, Elizabeth, he was in a mental institution because his wife killed herself. His wife overdosed on pills. And also, he apparently had some PTSD from the Korean War, which I don't know where that would have come from, because not diminishing him, but he wasn't in combat. He was in the surface Navy during the Korean War, and there were no battles. There were no battleships, battles, no kamikazes in the Korean War, right? So, but it was in the mental institute until then. But I would say L.D. Cooper is underrated. Who else? Melvin Wilson is underrated. I just think it's pretty insane that Melvin Wilson is indicted for counterfeiting $200,000 and then goes on the run just 2 months before the hijacking, and then ends up in Canada in early 72, telling people he's a furloughed airline pilot. So there's that. Have I tried to have Tim Collins on? Tim Collins wouldn't do that. Tim Collins he's a ghost. He wouldn't respond to Darren after Darren was done with him. So didn't Braden get charged with DUI? Yes. When he was an older guy. Sure. I mean, My DUI is not going to rule out. I mean, there are people who get DUIs who aren't drunks. A lot of people. Believe me, I'm a criminal defense attorney. I do DUIs every day, every week. Every week I have DUIs clients, and they're not all drunks for sure. So, I mean, having a DUI is not, maybe you had a bad day or you reacted poorly to some drinks. Yeah, Skip is not underrated. He's way too new to, and no, Skip won the freaking, I mean, hell, Skip won the friggin' the bracket. So, I mean, how could Skip be underrated if he just won the friggin' if he won the freaking thingamajig, right? How could he possibly be underrated when he's the big winner of the grand prize game? All right, let's see. Do I have that photograph of? I was trying to find these things quickly. I'm never able to find these damn things quickly. Maybe it was in that spot there. Oh man. Where is my picture there? Trying to find it. Whatever. Anyway, so what else are we talking about? So Gossett, yeah, Gossett's not great. Underrated though. Melvin Wilson, though, I think people will dismiss him. I mean, he's got a lot of things. Melvin's got a lot of problems, for sure. But there we go. Here it is. Yeah, no, Skip cannot be underrated when he won the Galactic Champion vote over was it Verdal or Braden? I think he beat. I think Skip beat. Who did Skip beat? Skip beat. Was it Milt? Yeah, Skip. Yeah, on that side of the bracket was Milton. Yeah, the close contest was Skip beat Braden by 1 vote. That was a photo finish. But you look at Skip. Skip's a chameleon. I mean, that's 5 different faces of Skip, and he looks like a different dude in each picture. So, yeah, Skip's not ugly though. That's the problem with Skip. He's not ugly unless he was really ill from his hepatitis, which is possible. Maybe he. Oh my God, the forehead wrinkles. Oh, the humanity, people, the forehead wrinkles. I mean, I'd rather my suspect look like that and have forehead wrinkles than look like Mr. Magoo. Just my opinion. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, guys. Heineman looks so much like Cooper. I mean, just remarkable that he looks so much like his own sketch, yet completely nothing like the Cooper sketch. I mean, honestly, he must be a wizard. Maybe he's like the faceless man from like Game of Thrones. I mean, maybe that's what it is. He forgot his face when he hijacked the flight in DC, but he was wearing a face when he hijacked Flight 305. Yes, Mr. Magoo with curly hair hijacked Flight 305. But yes, Skip has forehead wrinkles, of course. Yeah, I've already shown that picture, Packer. Ugly Skip. Skip could look ugly for sure. Yeah, there. We can bet you that in better quality, Mr. Magoo. But my God, the forehead wrinkles, baby. Oh, forehead wrinkles. He had forehead wrinkles. He should be eliminated, by God. That's what Flyjack says. He should be eliminated. Yes. Well, don't eliminate your own suspect for, not looking a damn thing like DB Cooper. But yeah, you don't eliminate your guy who looks nothing like DB Cooper, but eliminate Skip Hall because forehead wrinkles when he does this. And because he has bumps on his face. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm not being a Skip apologist here. I don't think Skip was Cooper. Okay? But he's plausible. Heineman is not plausible. That's the thing. It's plausible. Like, I just want to suspect who's plausible. I can't attack Skip except because I think his nose might be a little big for my liking, and he's a little handsomer than I like. But like doing this and having forehead wrinkles is not going to make me eliminate you. So like you expect the eyewitnesses to be so discerning that they pick up on that, but they don't pick up on how this guy looks nothing like Cooper. Give me a friggin' break. I mean, what is he going to do? Like, what is Heineman? I mean, what is Flajek going to do? You want to see something really funny? There will be a vault coming up soon. He better pray to God, and he won't get it though, because Heineman was born in 22. So those FBI interns, they're not going to waste their time. For some reason, they don't look up Robert Gregory, but like they're not going to waste their time looking up some people. But what they do is they see if they see a birth date that's over 100 years old, it's automatically unredacted. Okay, I don't know why on Gregory. I guess they don't have Gregory's birth date, but they're going to see Heineman's birth date. When Heineman was a copycat who was the same age as Cooper. Heineman will be in the 302s coming up. I guarantee they showed Heineman's photograph to the Stews. Okay. And everybody else. And there's going to be a 302. Flajek better pray there's not. Because I will never let him live it down. But there is going to be a 302 where it says, no. And they might even say nose too big, too blockheaded. Nothing identical about this guy. There will be a 302 coming up where they say Heineman wasn't Cooper. No way. How's he going to spin that? They've already asked him that one time. I think his response was, well, CIA or something. I forget what it was. Call me a liar, Flajek. I forget what you said, but you had some ridiculous response to me saying, what are you going to say when that happens? Because you know what's going to happen. Because obviously if they had identified him as Cooper, then he'd be Cooper and blah, blah, blah. So we know that they were probably shown Heineman's photograph, and they likely, we know that they would have said no. So what are you going to do? What's going to be how are you going to spin that? Like, I don't know how you spin, especially that soon. It's one thing, like, think about this, like Lyons, okay? Orville Lyons, they would not have been shown his photograph if they were until the 1980s, to like 84, something like that. Okay, well, we have Flo and Tina both not knowing what Cooper looked like anymore by the mid-70s. But Heineman's in May, or I guess he's caught in June of 72. So 7 months. So ridiculous. Jay is pushing my McCoy button. No, I'm not bitching about McCoy. I'm bitching about Heineman because Flajek has pissed me off. And I love Flajek. He's all right. He just a guy who cannot admit to being wrong is a problem. Okay, like it just you're not being very intellectual when you can't admit that you're wrong on very basic things. Yeah. All right. Did Coop wear a wristwatch? No. Tina said that he was constantly having to ask her for the time. So everybody had a wristwatch back then, right? So my guess is Cooper, maybe his was engraved or something, right? So, or maybe it was in his bag and he wasn't wearing it. Maybe he'd have put it on when he landed or something. I don't know, but he didn't have it during at least he wasn't letting people see it. But Tina said he wasn't. Tina said he was asking for it. The A team, Jay says the A team, McCoy, Braden, Lakich, and Skip. That's a team I would hire. Okay, well, if I had to make an A team of suspects, that's funny. Okay, so you got to have Braden first. You got to have Braden's your muscle, right? You got to have Braden. Braden's your killer. Braden's your killer. Okay. You got to have a smooth con man. That's going to be Skip. Okay, now remember, Skip like pretended to be a Cuban for half a decade and extorted money from people, pretending to be a Cuban. He's from Kansas. All right, so you get think of the A team. So you gotta have okay. The muscle is Braden. Okay, the killer. The con man is going to be Skip. Your tech guy, your nerd, Verdal. Clearly, Verdal is the guy. Verdal is going to be your Q, right? He's going to be Q. He's going to make all the gadgetry. The inventor, the mad scientist. Okay. So who else would I want? What, Rekka for comic relief? That's a good point, Niall. You can't trust Braden to stay on your team. That's a good point. He might desert. James Roman, there you go. Roman, there it is. Roman's your medic. Got to have your medic, right? Medic. So you got your medic. Oh, I think I'm gonna start doing memes. Got your muscle Braden, your smooth talking con man Skip, your mad scientist to make your things Milton, and then your doc. You got to have the medic when Braden and Skip shoot each other. You got to have a medic. Got to have Dr. Roman, and let's not forget Roman's also a killer as well. Sadly, Roman's an astronaut, so Roman's your pilot of these people. So yeah, your A team, the 4 guys, that's what you got. Packer says that CIA and intelligence officers were instructed to remove all jewelry on flights for covert operations. The exception was if they wanted to be noticed as married or what their role was protocol. Also, the CIA, as we talked about, if they were in country though, not on flights, but if they were in country, they had watches as bargaining tools, I guess, or for bribes and things. So wristwatches were a commodity in foreign countries. So CIA agents would have like 5 Rolexes that they would just give if they're in a tight spot. It's better than cash money as a Rolex. But yeah, that'd be my A team for sure. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Isn't that the A team theme, people? It's been a long time since I've seen the A team. Speaking of which, 80s sitcoms that ended funny. Like Alf, like the last episode of Alf is like him being surrounded by like FBI agents or whatever the agents were that were trying to catch Alf. I think like Alf was, what was it like? I think the last shot of Alf, I try to find it, is him being like, yeah, it was like him being, because it was good. Like they canceled the show. That's right. They canceled Alf, but like it was a cliffhanger. But if you were just watching it like on Netflix or whatever, this is just how it ends is poor freaking Alf. Like some sad music happening, and Alf is like surrounded by police who are like extraterrestrial police who come in to get Alf. Right. And then there's like the other what was it? Yeah, that show Dinosaurs. Remember that show Dinosaurs? Like, what was that like? Was that the show that was like the little thing was like, I'm not the baby or whatever. Yeah. Dinosaurs, that show that ended, the last episode of Dinosaurs ended with them all sad and scared because like the Ice Age had come. And what's funny is that dates the show really. Because I think that's right. Is that maybe I look up when that ended? Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't want to speak out of my ass, but yeah, there's the dinosaurs. They're like looking out the window and the Ice Age has come and they're all terrified. Like, okay, it's kind of sad. Not the mama. Yeah. But like, the problem is like, I remember, when did that show end though? Because like, I feel like that may have been before, I may have been old enough to where it was before we knew about the meteor. Cause I mean, that's not old. Like, I mean, people who were younger, people who were in their 20s watching this, like, I mean, I was young. I mean, the meteor impact was like not a thing. Like that was, I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but like, I think like people figured out that an asteroid killed the dinosaurs like in the like 1990 or something. I mean, wasn't like ancient history or anything like that. Yeah, I'm wrong. I ain't Tom K, the paleontologist on here. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Everyone watched the ending of MASH. Now that is like, when that song started to play, it was time to go to bed. Like, that's my generation. Like, it was like, okay, well, it's Sunday evening. Shit, I've got school tomorrow. I better go to bed. That was the, I've never seen an episode of MASH. Honestly, you'd think I would. It's interesting too. MASH is about the Korean War. It's vaguely supposed to be reminiscent of Vietnam or the themes, right? Yeah, I'm sure MASH was a great show. I mean, everyone loved Mac. Ryan would be Charlie and Charlie's Angels. Hey, Tina, Flo, and Alice. The Waltons. Now I like Little House on the Prairie. I wasn't a Walton person. I like Little House on the Prairie. I like the one where Laura shoves that what was the mean girl's name in Little House on the Prairie? The mean girl. She like shoves her down. The mean girl was pretending to be like paralyzed or something. And I think like Laura like figured it out, and Laura shoves her wheelchair down a cliff or something like that. I remember that. I always remember that. Little House on the Prairie. I always felt bad because the sister was blind. Was it Mary, the sister? And Alpha was arrested by ICE. Yeah, the one with the blonde curls. I forget what that girl's name was in Little House on the Prairie. Yeah, Al Cal says 1980s was when the impact hypothesis became popular. Favorite dinosaurs. This conversation really shows the age curve for Cooperites. Yeah, I think we're mostly older, Drew. I mean, not for long though. Like the Vortex, and I've been talking to publishers the past week and literary agents about this. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do. Trying to figure out who I want my book to go to. But like they I've been trying to explain that, like, Adventure Agents has 500,000 subscribers, and that is sort of not quite a DB Cooper channel, but in many ways it is. So I added it up because I wanted to know the stats. The Adventure Agents DB Cooper videos have a combined 27 million views. Okay. I have encountered 2 kids, like randomly, who somehow know who I am. And it's because they started watching Cooper stuff because of the Adventure Agents. And we know, as being, just having been kids, all of us at one point, that a lot of times the interest you have as a kid, you take into adulthood. So mysteries and things like this. Like all of us like Unsolved Mysteries, and most of us like mysteries and things, aliens and things. We were younger. Most of us watching have intellectual curiosity to be interested in mysteries and things, right? And so there is going to be a massive influx of Cooperites in the next, I don't know how many, but like in the next 5 to 10 years, when these 10-year-olds are able to like get online and go to forums and contribute, there's going to be a huge influx of Cooperites. Like, this is not going away. Okay. And so there will be a new generation of Cooperites because of the Adventure Agents. I am convinced of it. I live 15 minutes from where Little House was filmed. So was that filmed on location was it Kansas, or where's Little House? I don't know where that takes place. Kansas. But yeah. Elizabeth says, my kids know about DB Cooper. They're talking about it today. My daughter is huge into true crime. She's 30. My son loves it. He's 25. Yeah. That's the cool thing about the internet, is that, like, that's something that's interesting too, is that for people like us, we had to like see a Cooper show or a Bermuda Triangle show on like rerun, right? We had to be watching TV or something and In Search Of happened to come on, or we'd go to our library and I remember going to the library when I was in middle school and elementary school, and I'd go to the section that had like all the books like Bermuda Triangle and Bigfoot. Like I guess, I don't know what that section was in the card catalog, but there was a mystery. I guess it was a mystery section, but wherever section had the aliens and things like that. Blue Strike says, my introduction was Lamino here on YouTube. There you go. Yeah. So I think there's more people going to be exposed to Cooper now, obviously, because of the internet, than for us. it's just, so like, I've been trying to tell these people, like, there is an interest in like a all-purpose Cooper book, which is what I've written. I mean, there is this will be timeless, I think, I mean, because I don't think honestly, I don't think it's getting solved. So I don't think it's going to be like upended. So I think that, 10 years from now, someone who wants a little more information on Cooper can go buy my book or whatever. I mean, that's my goal was to write a book that I would want to read about Cooper. So how can we promote CooperCon? Well, Chris Cunningham, need to get my webpage up. So we need to get the webpage fixed a little bit. We're having some issues there. Cooper's tie was a Goodwill tie, I have no doubt. Why? Mystery bag, no. You seen Cooper's tie up close? It's nasty. Pictures of it, it's gross. Cooper's tie has holes in it. I mean, that tie could have been bought new for $1.50 back then. No, Goodwill would have gotten rid of that. They don't keep things with holes in it, especially that you could buy new. It'd be like, have you ever seen socks at Goodwill that have holes in them? No. So no, I don't think it would have been Goodwill. They wouldn't have. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Drew says the alligator tie clip makes it unlikely to be a Goodwill find. Yeah, because it appears, if you look at the tie, that tie clip had been attached to it for some time. Like, it was not taken off and put back on a lot. And now it has been since. Taken off a lot and put on. It'd be nice to know which side it was originally on. But because the agents have put it on both ways. You see photographs, because the tie clip and the tie are kept separately. They're different pieces of evidence. So they put them together just for publicity stunt photos and things. So, and sometimes it's on the right side, sometimes it's on the left side. Yeah, the alligator describes the mechanism. It's like a clip. The Cooper case is addicting, Ian. Yes, it is. Because it seems solvable, right? And it's not, it's contained. Like, that's why I feel like I'm just talking in circles when I do these YouTube videos, because I feel like I'm saying the same shit over and over again. But like, because I mean, we kind of run out of information at a certain point, but it's a very contained mystery. It's not like, I don't know, learning about World War II or something. It's very contained, and it seems solvable. It's like, oh, can't we just find the guy? Yes, there you go. Drew said it perfectly. The one piece away nature of the case draws all the dorks in. I'm going to copyright that, Drew. I'm going to steal that from you. Thieve it from you. Okay. Tie clasps are also easy Goodwill stuff. No. But Mystery Bag, what we're saying, though, is that, like, I think stuff on the tie makes it seem like that the clip had been on there for a while. And also, do we have the photographs of it? Like, try and find a photograph of the tie. I mean, it's got holes in it, man. Like, do we have photographs of the tie, of the holes in it? Come on. I guess not. Damn. But yeah, it's got holes in it, though. It's not a pretty tie. It's got holes from where Cooper obviously had a union pin or something, like a company pin or something that was on the tie. And there's a big kind of hole in it where he done all this. I mean, okay, a tie at Goodwill with a tie clasp, no problem. But how many ties do you see at Goodwill that are $1 brand new that have holes in them? Like, it literally has holes in it. Like, I really need to find that. I can find that I can find an image of it that's got the holes. I mean, it's a busted up tie. Eric, I remember Eric was like, it's a burn mark, not burn marks. But damn, but it's got some gnarly holes in it. Mystery bag. I don't. Oh, here we go. Perfect. Yeah. I mean, I just don't. And it's got more than these too. It's just a few of them. Look at that. So yeah, you've got multiple tie clips and like the indention there. Like I said, that indention, that tie clip had been on there for a minute. Um, that second tie tack hole. So yeah. Yeah, but so I mean, we've got here. Let's see. So we got the tie here. It could go on either way. Like I've seen it where the agents put it on this way and then this way. I think I feel like it's supposed to go on if you're going to wear it not for decoration, but if you're going to wear it practically, which is to keep your the whole point of one of these is to put your shirt through it. You clip it to your shirt, so if you're bending over or something, it doesn't lean out or whatever, right? Um, but it doesn't look as good. It looks better that way, right? It looks better when it goes up. I don't like how it looks if you do it the other way. This doesn't. If I can get it to work. Let's see. I'll try and put it on the other way. It doesn't look as doesn't look as clean and I mean, if you're wearing it for decorative reasons, you definitely want to put it on the other way. So like, I don't like that. I mean, it goes down. That looks like sad, right? It's sad. But I guess he could have worn it like that. But this would have been the way you're supposed to wear it, because if I'm right, men's shirts open up from the right side. So like, yeah. So I think it's supposed to be that way, I think, but it doesn't look as nice that way. It'd be nice if they knew which way. I'm guessing that in this photograph, you could probably figure out which direction it was coming from. Figure out the direction of the tie clip to make that indention. That would be the indicator of how it was worn, I'm sure. I don't know about that. Maybe I'm wrong. Somebody let me know. Talk on this tie stuff. Anyway, is that a replica or is it the exact tie? What do you mean? Mine? You mean this Elizabeth? This is the real tie. I mean, that's a real photograph of the tie. The real question is why he left it behind. I would say brain fart. Brain fart. I don't know. I mean, I just think that if you're a guy, this is the way I think about it. I've said this a bunch, that like when you're a guy and you take off a tie, what do you do? Like your brain, you don't even think about it. You instinctively just throw it onto something. You throw it onto a chair or a bed or a dresser or whatever. You just I feel like he just was in the moment and was, by that point, he's not so collected, right? He was cool enough to be like, hey, I want the notes back. I want the matches back. But the dude is 15 minutes away, maybe, from his life ending, perhaps. I mean, I think Cooper had other things going on, and I think he just took it off and probably intended to throw it in his pocket or something, right? Or just throw it out the back of the plane, which is what Mac did with his clothes. But he didn't. He wasn't dressed very 70s. He was showing his age. Yeah, he was definitely. I mean, Cooper being 50 is probably right. Drew says, weird he takes it off while suited up to jump with the bag tied to him already. Best guess is he wiped prints down with it after sending Tina up front and forgot it. Yeah. I mean, that would be if I still would think that he obfuscated his fingerprints somehow, Drew. I still think he probably had glue on his fingers or something. John Detler said that was common back then. He could have wiped it down, but it seems like the partial nature of how every one of his prints he left behind was partial. Seems to like that was, except for this palm print, that every print he left behind. Well, that's another thing too. The fact that's probably the evidence that goes against him wiping anything down is the fact that the palm print is intact. You would think that if he wiped down his armrest, that the palm print would have been smushed or messed up as well, just because he wasn't trying to. He wasn't thinking about arm or palm prints, but he did it anyway. So yeah, the palm print would have been smushed, I think, if he had wiped anything down, but it wasn't. It was complete, right? So I think I just realized that's probably the evidence. That's probably the evidence we need. That's probably the best evidence that Cooper did obfuscate his fingerprints, right? Is that the palm print was intact, which suggests that he did not wipe down his area with anything. He just didn't think his fingerprints were going to show up. Any advantage to leaving the tie? Could be a red herring. Well, it's just weird that the FBI didn't no prints on the handrail of stairs, no prints anywhere for Cooper. Maybe he left it as a message. I mean, a message. I mean, I don't know, Jay. It was it's a tie that costs $1.50. I mean, and the tie clip is something that you can go. All of you can go online and get these. I mean, you can get a whole set of them. They're called Stacy. If you look up Stacy tie clip on eBay, $20 probably. You can get your own Cooper tie clip. I need to wear this to court one day. I think I'm gonna wear my clip-on tie to court. Maybe next week I'll do that. I'll take a picture for everybody. I think I'm gonna wear a Cooper outfit to court next time I go to court. I'll wear put some giant glasses on in honor of Flyjack, in honor of Heinemann. Was this solved? Elizabeth's falling asleep. Hey, good night. It is over 3 hours. My God, I did not expect to go over 1 hour today. But here we are. Anything else I can do for people who are just having some fun? What can we do? Oh, here's my Radachek with a funny face. Oh, funny face Radachek. Yep. Funny face rat. What else we got? I'm just showing you behind the scenes of my Paul Soderlund turned out really well, by the way. Look at that. Perfect. Looks just like the dude, man. I'll find a picture of Paul Soderlund for you people, so you can know how talented I am at this AI stuff, at programming it. So you have to program the AI to make these people look this way. So Soderlund did not have a mustache at the time, but this is Soderlund with the mustache. See, look at there. Not bad, is it? Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Not shabby at all. Anyway, there's Paul. Is that a clip-on tie? Oh, what? Oh, that Soderlund's wearing. Is he wearing a clip-on tie? Probably. Can there be an actual investigation into the cigarette butts? For what reason? They're destroyed. They're gone. Adios. Cigarettes are gone.
No! No!
Yeah. Cigarettes are gone. They're destroyed. How'd the money get from Clay Elum to Tina Bar? I don't know about that. Hi, Ryan. Hijack or skyjack? Which is the better term? Well, probably skyjack, honestly, because hijack can actually refer to anything. Like, I mean, you can hijack a truck, right? You can hijack a truck. You can hijack a car. It's got, I think, hijacking. Yeah, it means different things. So I mean, skyjacking is probably the technical term is air piracy, right? That's the technical term. Which, if any of you missed it, it was Mac's. I think Mac turned 81. Mac turned 81 recently, and I think that I give Mac a. Yeah, there we go. I made Mac a. I made Mac a happy birthday image that I sent to him. He loved it. See, there's the pirate, Mac the air pirate. His Fed name, actually, like his federal prison name, was Pirate because of it. See, he is the pirate. Like, that was what they called him. That was his alias or whatever, or his code name in the prison was Pirate. So, Pirate. I'm not the only person who thinks the tie analysis is just a dead end. I mean, we have no way of Cooper owned the tie for years. I agree. I mean, I do not mind tie analysis. Just like I didn't mind when, if you want to go investigate the Gunther stuff, I mean, do what you want to do. But I mean, the tie is obviously better than that. But yeah. Let's see. I should get a D-ring necklace. The D-rings. Yes, the D-rings that McCoy was mad weren't on the bank bag, according to Dan Grider, right? Air piracy. Okay, well, no, but Mr. Bag, look, the tie absolutely could be anybody's. I mean, hell, there was it was like a metallurgist conference in Portland like 2 months before the hijacking. Like, literally, the worldwide metallurgy conference. I discovered that. I was like, oh my God. I was going through somewhere. I don't know how I came across that. I was looking for a metallurgist in Portland or something. I came across like the National Metallurgists or Worldwide or something seminar was in Portland a few months before. So, I mean, maybe it was picked up at a hotel or something, right? I mean, so yeah, we don't know, but I'm not going to like poo-poo any. I'm not going to poo-poo. I'm not going to poo-poo anybody doing tie research. Obviously, I mean, it does fit. It's a lead. It's all they've got, really. And yeah, Drew says it best. Drew says the chain of custody before the hijacking makes the tie uncertain, but everything is uncertain, and there's not many better things to chase down at this point. 100%. And I mean, look, it is. I mean, and it is an engineering type of thing, right? I mean, it's machinery, engineering, and Cooper seemed to have that kind of mind, maybe, right? So if the tie had like cow fertilizer on it or something, right? Well, there's no real connection to cow fertilizing farmers and hijacking planes, right? But the tie does seem to have some tangential relationship to aviation components, titaniums and all kinds of things that are in aircraft. So, I mean, there is some connection there. I mean, there's some at least tangential connection between the tie and hijacking the plane. Like I said, if it was fertilizer, different story, right? So, I mean, it could be a coincidence, though, just like Joe Johnston's a coincidence. I mean, you have the perfect accomplice. You have the perfect DB Cooper arrested in the drop zone the night before. It turns out it was the night before. Well, yeah, I think so. I think we came to that conclusion. It was like at 2 a.m., not 2 p.m. Despite the FBI saying it was 2 p.m. Makes me kind of nuts. I buy junk at thrift stores all the time. So in my mind, Cooper did just that, but I see your point. I mean, we can talk to, here's the thing though. Mac is not the end all be all, but it is hella nice to have an actual DB Cooper on speed dial that you send text messages to, right? So I can ask Mac, where did your clothes come from? Where did your suit come from? Mac said he just got stuff out of the closet, stuff he didn't mind throwing away. So maybe Cooper had the same mindset, right? I'm just going to grab some old shit and don't care. Maybe that's why his suit wasn't particularly fashionable. I mean, Cooper didn't care about fashion. Like, he didn't match his, and I've got a brown jacket with my trench coat. I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but something about Cooper didn't match, and Bill didn't like it. Bill didn't like, I think his shoes didn't match his pants or something, or maybe his socks were white. So maybe he was wearing thermal socks or whatever. I don't know. But I really like Mike Davis's suggestion that Cooper, surely if Cooper was military, he would have had a pair of spare socks in the mystery bag or something, because it's gonna be wet out there. Okay. Yeah, Drew Daniel says subjective analysis of someone who is an executive type while also being timid seems like a brainiac type researcher or engineer. Also would fit an old smart person who never made any money. Yeah, I mean, we got hijackers who were accountants. I mean, I think that the guy his name was Major something. He was a hijacker in Portland, tried to hijack a plane. He was an engineer. Or no, I'm sorry, he was an accountant from Vancouver, Washington. And said he had a bomb and took over a plane. So it happens. Don't bring up cows with the Fazio cow farm murders. Good God. Boy, don't get Bruce started on that. Uncle Bruce. Didn't there used to be some theory about how his socks looked like he was wearing full long johns? Yes. So Bill Mitchell told Tusaw. And I remember I asked Bill, I was like, Bill, Tusaw has you saying some things. Would you think he was honest enough to quote you accurately? He said, yeah, absolutely. He goes, Mr. Tusaw was great. And look, Tusaw was a lawyer like me. I mean, he's a honest researcher, I guess. I mean, I would never, there's nothing in my book, having done a Tusaw type thing myself. I've talked to people, I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth who've told me something. All right. I would never do that because they're still alive. They'd be like, Ryan's a fraud. He misquoted me or whatever. So, I mean, but Bill apparently told Tusaw that something was weird about the bottom of Cooper's pants. It was as if he had something sticking out or something. He has a memory of picking on it because he was picking on Cooper. He said something was wrong. He had long johns or something, which would make sense. Or, hell, Mac had blue jeans under his suit and a polo shirt. So, and maybe Cooper, you'd think Cooper would be sweating wearing all that shit, but maybe not. Special forces guys can easily blend in and look geeky if they need to. Well, I mean, we're taking Bill's, Bill thought he looked geeky, but how much of that was, real or just an observation that wasn't accurate? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just think Ralph has a lot of hot air. Yeah, Bill said he got the nerdy engineer vibe. Bill liked Verdal. Bill's like, hey, this guy's the first suspect I've heard of who kind of matches my vibe for what I felt like Cooper was, which was just dork. But, and I mean, Tina said that she thought he was smart. executive vibe. Didn't seem like a hoodlum. We've got Flo Schaffner not liking the hoodlum sketch. She says, this makes him look like a hoodlum. And Cooper was more refined than that. So we have them using words like refined, intelligent, executive. So, I thought you were speaking of Ralph, who said he found the parachute. Dan Greider's who you're thinking of. Like the mystery bag, whatever was in the mystery bag was not used during the hijacking. Right? The only thing that we know Cooper just pulls out of thin air that was noticed is the pocket knife and I guess his matches and his cigarettes. That's it. Nothing else just came out of nowhere, according that he used. So whatever was in the mystery bag, and it had bulk. Nancy House said it was 4 inches tall. It was a little bit shorter than the briefcase, but about 4 inches tall. So it had something in it. Boots, possibly. Yeah, it had something in there that was substantive. And whatever it was could only have been used for his escape or his jump. So stuff that couldn't fit in his pockets. And he's got a trench coat, so he can put goggles or whatever. We can look at Mac had rope, twine. God, Mac, forever hate twine. Mac used twine of all things. Jesus. But Mac had twine in his. Mac had a pistol in his. Mac had gloves in his. McCoy had a mystery bag with rope and his skydiving accoutrement in there. Don't say cheeseburger. Yeah. Dan Greider. Now, Dan Greider and Ralph Himmelsbach are joined at the hip, though. Greider does make me laugh if you watch. I'll have to do a reaction video to the Greider McCoy stuff because he goes, Ralph, multiple times. It's kind of funny. He made fun of me. The video's pulled, though. He thought he was giving me a sick burn recently by making fun of me, but wasn't very good. Doesn't he exit the bathroom with the mystery bag on top of the briefcase? Well, of course he does. Drew, you not seen my videos there? My little where's my mystery bag Cooper? There we go. Yes, it was Nancy House who saw him coming out of the bathroom with the mystery bag. And she said it was on top. Yeah, he was carrying the briefcase like a pizza box. And it was on top of it. Let's see if I can pull this up. My recreation of it, or attempt at it. Yeah. Couldn't quite get a green bag, but you're not convinced he had a gun. I don't know either, but I assume he did. Why wouldn't he have a gun? Every single copycat had a gun, either carrying it or hidden. So all of them did. It makes sense to have a gun. You have to have a backup threat. What if you drop the bomb and it falls on the ground and everybody laughs and goes, oh, you had to have some kind of backup threat, right? Most of the other guys had multiple threats. They would say I had a bomb and they had a pistol, right? They were brandishing it. But all of them had a pistol. You have to have a backup threat. And what if he had to carjack somebody on the ground, right? What if he had to escape? You could have something to carjack somebody or whatever. Committing a hijacking, you have a fake bomb. You may as well have a pistol with you. And all of them did. Can't imagine he'd take boots or goggles into the bathroom with a bomb. Well, Drew, I don't think he wanted to leave anything out there. That's why he took the bag with him. He took the bag with him to the bathroom because he took all of his belongings with him to the bathroom. So he's not, because he's in there for a couple of minutes. Somebody could have stolen his shit. Like McCoy's ransom note that wasn't taken. So no, Cooper didn't want his crap to be stolen. So that's why he took everything. He took everything with him to the bathroom. Probably goes in there to pee. People say, what was he doing in there? Probably taking a leak, or he's drinking out of the faucet. I would think after smoking that much, he needed a drink of some sort. So, and he's not going to take drinks from the stewardesses because he was afraid they were going to drug him, which is why McNally for 12 hours didn't drink anything from the stewardesses. Will he need a change of clothes once on the ground? Possibly. Again, McNally, we can look at McNally, Mac, let everybody see him. Hi, Vince. You're a little late, Vince, to your first live stream. We're 3.5 hours in. Allegedly, I'm not convinced of this, Nikki. Nikki says he took some coffee from Flo. When would that have happened? That's the problem. Like, I don't think so. Because, think about it. Like, she serves him a booze. The only time that she's really around him. Thank you, Erstazi. The only time that Flo is around Cooper, really. Okay, good. He says he's kidding. Yeah, I don't think it happened either. Because Flo didn't like Cooper. Why is she going to give him coffee? And like, oh, can I get you some coffee? No, bullshit. No. Your channel has reinvigorated my interest in this case. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Who is my number one suspect? I don't have one. On paper, Skip Hall is probably the best all-around suspect. He leads my mathematical matrix, which is my own bias and is made the matrix, I guess. But Hall is the top. He's the top on the matrix, at least. But I don't think he's Cooper. To be honest, I don't think any of these people are Cooper. But he's good. Guy named Orville Lyons is good. Yeah, we don't know. If it was only the guy who died in Denver a week later, God almighty. You talk about, I've talked about him before. I don't want to get into it again, but he's just too young. I almost quit when I learned that guy's age. Because he was there. Everything you want. The only suspect ever, who we know was from out of town and was there the day before the hijacking and never returned to his hotel room. We have a suspect who knew 727s very well, who was a felon, a genius, actually, who was in Portland at the Marriott downtown, maybe the Hilton, the day before the hijacking, and never returns to his room and ends up dying of internal injuries a week later in Denver. And his family gets a call saying, hey, his bill was never paid. Do you want his, they're like, oh, he's dead. Like, oh, well, we're sorry to hear that, but his stuff is still here. And we still have all his stuff from his room. He never came back. So, but he's just too young, just too young. Do I have a video on this topic? I've not heard of the guy. No, it's a private suspect, I guess. Sorry. I get emails from people. Yeah, mystery bag. I don't know if he had debt. He had just got out of prison. Remember, he had just been paroled. He was too young. I mean, it's sad. I mean, I almost cried because I was like, oh shit, we finally found Cooper. I mean, a guy who gets a hotel room the night before in Portland, who knows 727s, who just got out of prison, whose life was over, was despondent, was a con man, and never returns to his room, leaves all his stuff there, and goes home to die in Denver. Damn it. And was a skydiver and a hang glider and a pilot. Talk about perfection. And even looks like Cooper. I mean, fuck it. I'll show a photo of this guy. I don't care. Y'all are still with me after 3.5 hours. Fuck it. I'll find out. I won't say his name out of privacy, but let me see if this is what this is. Damn it. To hell. Sorry, people. Sorry, this is bad pod. I'm trying to get this this photo for you folks. But yeah, this family member showed me all that. I mean, everything this guy said was legitimate. Like, I mean, I looked it up myself, and I was super duper stoked to research this guy, only to, discover the sad truth about his age. But okay, this be good enough, I guess. Sorry, folks. Bear with me. Having to save all this. Yeah, he's rather he's definitely Coopery. And he's olive and from the Midwest. And it's like, damn it, if I was I had to tell the guy, I said, look, man, I can't hang with young suspects. Like, I've spent too long. I mean, there's too much out there that shows Cooper was an older guy. I wish that I could, do that, but so I had to let him go. I had to cut him loose. But this is the. I was pretty pissed. Anyway, here he is. Like I said, I can't say his name. The brothers, didn't want me to do that, but I'll show his picture because y'all are hanging with me. Damn it, come on. But yeah, there he is. He's mid-20s, I guess. But yeah. I mean, that little nose, the little beady eyes, the narrow face that kind of comes down to the point. Yeah. This was heartbreaking when I learned how young he was. But otherwise, the perfect. Like, literally, you could not. I was so certain we had Cooper until the guy said, well, he was just old. I was like, God. Yeah. I think I have his mugshot too. Got a lot of hair too. I think this has his name in it, so I gotta. Yeah, let me blur this out for y'all with me. Oops. Yeah, okay, I'm blurring that out. So this is him. This is him a couple years before the hijacking, actually. He was in Vietnam too. A Vietnam veteran. But it was like a literal, he pulled off the best, he embezzled more money than anybody in the history of Colorado had up to that point. He was like a Frank Abagnale kind of guy, kind of a con man, but was a genius, had all these like things. Literally the man owned a 727 that he had bought to lease with his ill-gotten gains from embezzlement. He bought a 727 and leased it, flew it, could fly it, and leased it to like sports teams and things like this. Let's see. There we go. That's his mugshot there. Yeah, he looks Native American or Latin descent. I mean, yeah, he absolutely. I mean, as far as looks go, if he's got a lot of hair though, that's the problem. He got way too much hair. But now his brother told me that. I don't know. His brother told me that because he was so young, whenever he had to look older to go do these confidence schemes at these banks and things, he said that he used to dye his hair grayer. He used to thin his hair out. He said that he would try to look older to get more respect at banks and things. People would respect him more if they thought he was older. So you never know. But I mean, you never know. And I hate to be that way, but I just think about like Flo saying that Cooper had or Alice saying that he had an older looking mouth, a wrinkled mouth. But I don't know. I mean, this guy, but he is a guy who made himself look older. That is known. I mean, I've actually looked that up. So when he got arrested, so I don't know. Hang glider, skydiver, owns 727 in Portland. Comes from Colorado to Portland the day before the hijacking. Never returns to his hotel room. So something happened to him on the day of the hijacking. He ends up dying a week later in a hotel room in Denver. Not bad. Anyway, yeah, he's got a lot of circumstantial evidence. I mean, this thing, Skip Hall, good God. I mean, you talk about circumstantial evidence. If Packer's still here. Packer, I'll read for people who listen to my podcast. A lot of people, if y'all aren't in my Facebook group, join the official Facebook group. Also join the DB Cooper Mystery group. No, Drew, not true, Drew. You saying that he has to have been killed by people? No. He died of internal injuries. He'd be hurt. Think about that. He comes down and it's really bad. It hurt, and he just says, "Screw it. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go home to die." Because he may have lost the money in the jump, and cracked his ribs or something. That's what I think. Oh, thank you, Guy, for. I always do the YouTube stuff after watching them. Thank you. Liking is so important. Facebook group is called the official DB Cooper group, and there's also the DB Cooper Mystery group. But Packer, and I'll close with this. Packer had some great stuff that he posted on Facebook about his upcoming Skip Hall book number 2. Okay, this is what Packer said. He said, "Not to be too much of a tease, but the book will contain the following: proof that Hall smoked Raleigh cigarettes, proof that Hall owned a dark brown russet suit coat prior to the hijacking, proof that Hall visited the Lake Elsinore Jump Center in 71, proof that Hall rigged parachutes in Little Havana, proof that Hall was not only a pilot, but that he served as a load master and aerial photographer, proof of Hall discussing Air America and a fellow pilot and Interpim member who flew for them, proof that Hall was connected to Atomics International, which operated sodium and thorium reactors in California, proof that Hall carried and utilized amphetamines for his missions, proof that Hall flew under an alias similar to Dan Cooper prior to 71, proof that Hall had taken a gun on a commercial flight before the hijacking, documents existing proving his exact match to Cooper physically, proof that he had sideburns in 71, Proof that Hall was cohabitating with a woman who possessed a conical canopy parachute and reserved chest parachute in their domicile. Proof that Hall worked in a facility with a foundry. Proof that Hall worked directly with titanium and in environments where testing, grinding, and fabricating were happening daily. Proof that Hall's vocations were listed as tool and die designer and sheet metal aircraft worker. Proof of Hall's connections to Oregon and Washington. Proof of Hall's criminal activity, we know that. And yes, more proof of Hall's involvement in the Kennedy assassination. So there's that. So Vince, if you see you requested to join the group, just cycle back over. If you refresh it, you'll be in. It's automatic. Okay, one other thing too, though, Drew, it was listed as a suicide. He overdosed on pills. Okay, so it was technically a suicide. It was an overdose of pain medication. But the autopsy, I don't say too much, but the brother is a hoity-toity doctor somewhere in America right now. And his brother got a hold of the autopsy, and there was internal damages, broken ribs, and there was internal bleeding. So either he killed himself or was taking pain medication or something. But I mean, I like the idea of Cooper, like, being paroled out of prison. Life's over. I'm young. He jumps, he loses the money perhaps, and then goes, man, I just committed a freaking hijacking and I'm dying. I'm hurt. I'm injured and I've lost the money or whatever. I don't know. And then just saying, screw it. I'm not even going back to my hotel. I'm just going home and screw it. I mean, I could almost see that, but maybe not. But that is the only Cooper suspect I know of who we could say was in Portland the day before the hijacking, who wasn't from the area and have like receipts for it. Yeah, for it to be him, he has to lose it for Tina Barr to work. Yeah, I agree. And hey, I mean, again, McNally lost his money. No reason to think that that Cooper might not have lost either. Although a shroud line's pretty strong, but I mean, and he seemed to be able to make knots pretty well. I mean, Tina talked about him making a loop knot, essentially. She said he made a handle out of the cordage, which is a loop knot. So he knew how to make knots, things like that. Yeah, Join Jen says that in 71, she had an uncle laid off in Boeing and Renton, and another uncle in San Diego at General Dynamics laid off. Lots of disgruntled people. Yep, 71. 71 was a bad time for aviation, so it makes kind of sense. Is disguising oneself really that far out of left field? Makeup design was possible to make someone look older. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, the hijackers who wore makeup were noticeably wearing makeup, like McCoy. Makeup is not what it was today. Even for women, makeup was way more noticeable back then. It wasn't like you talk to women like Nicole Legg, who's in our group. I mean, makeup has changed a lot since then. It used to be obvious when women were wearing makeup, but now, I mean, makeup is so good. Women, notice it sometimes, and especially on a man putting makeup on, and you're gonna have a tough time doing that unless you're a makeup artist. So the people who were wearing makeup, who did these things, were noticeably wearing makeup because makeup was noticeable back then. So, but again, if this guy's a master of disguise, if he's some kind of Frank Abagnale young genius, maybe he figured it out. Anyway, folks, I'm going to hang it up. It's 3 hours and 45 minutes. I cannot believe people are still listening to me ramble. I don't know how people do this, like crazy, but anyway, so, go like my old videos if you've not liked them, because I need those likes. I need 200 likes on my videos to bump it up to get the algorithm going. Anyway, all right, folks. Well, I've shared a lot with you tonight, and I'm going to do a plan for the rest of the month. I'm definitely going to get part 3 of my hijacking narrative out. I'm going to start a new suspect series, I think, making individual videos about suspects. I think the first one's going to be on James Roman and the mad doctor, the astronaut suspect. I mean, we have a surgeon who was an astronaut who is a bad dude. Be an interesting suspect to talk about. So I'm going to do a video just on him, and then I'm going to go on to other suspects. So anyway, all right, folks. Well, thank you for still watching, and that's all I've got. cheers, and happy anniversary to BBG and yours. Bye.